What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another week, another episode of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about Battlefield Battlefield Labs. They had a play test on Friday for about 2 hours. Footage leaked. We can't show the footage, but they did put out what we're working on, which is gunplay and movement. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We're going to talk about Transformers. The newest Toyline validates concerns about the problematic franchise trends. I think this is we talked about it last week a little bit because I made a video saying that if Saber Interactive was going to make a Transformers game, they shouldn't do it on the new stuff. They should do it on the old stuff because the old stuff is much better than the new stuff because the new stuff people don't buy. The new era of people, kids, adults, they're not buying the new stuff. They're buying the old stuff. So we'll talk about that as well. We're going to talk about Destin Laguerre had a video, an opinion piece talking about Xbox buying Activision was pointless. We're going to watch that and give you our thoughts and opinions on that as well. And then we have an interview with Peter Moore talking about, I did encourage the battle between PlayStation and Xbox console war was healthy, but has lost its, finesse of what it is. So we're going to talk about that as well. And then if we have time, we'll look at the Atom Fall with Skill Up had a video, his thoughts and opinions on it, about 13-minute long video on Atom Fall. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We appreciate you. Let me see who's all in chat here. Good morning. What's going on, Mo? What's going on, Eclipse, Kylo, Roic, Sarge, Travis, Waterbear, L, both L's. Got El Nini in here. We got El Concho in here. Robert Jones, what's going on? Who else am I missing? Anybody else? Anybody else? No? Good. Go on, James Thomas. Morning, good morning. How's everyone's weekend? I have a tornado warning right now, so I got to keep my eye out over on the window over here. What's going on, Prosy? So this weekend, didn't do much. Pretty laid back weekend. We played a little bit of more Avowed. Put about another 2-3 hours into Avowed from when we played last week. We'll be playing that more tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, over on 30 and Still Gaming. That's our gameplay channel. So if you guys want to see more Avowed, we're playing through that. Continuing on, enjoying my time in it so far. We played some Marvel Rivals this weekend. Played the clone match. That's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. We had a match where we were. How was it? It was Star-Lord, and I forget who the other person was. Star-Lord, and who was the other person? I can't think of the other person. But we were dominating. And then we played Spider-Man. Oh, that's who it was. It was Spider-Man. It was Spider-Man and Human Torch. What a miserable combo that was. Because Spider-Man just super hard to use, at least in my opinion. I haven't used him at all. So using him was basically useless. And then when I jumped over to Human Torch, better. But then the people that knew how to use Spider-Man, I was dying left and right every 5 seconds. So that was a little frustrating. Another cool one that we did was it was Jeff the Land Shark and Penny Parker. And man, I was the only person that was Penny Parker on the team, and everybody else was Jeff the Land Shark. Okay? And then we were going up against everybody that was Penny Parker, and it was hilarious because I couldn't die. I wasn't dying. I was just constantly getting healed and whatnot. It was pretty funny. But that was fun. So we played that this weekend as well. You guys play anything good? Did you guys do anything fun? I watched half of Captain America and the Brave New World. Okay? It was on YouTube. Someone uploaded it. I watched it, and I got about 30 minutes in, and then it got yanked off of YouTube. So, for what I saw, it was entertaining, but it wasn't very good. It was entertaining, but it wasn't very good. So, go on, Z. Eclipse says it'll be fine. Says the Shadow Grifter. We're wrong, right? Oh, you guys are. Anytime I see something like that, you guys are talking to Travis. I got you. It's good. I enjoyed it. I didn't get to see the whole thing. For what I saw, the opening sequence of the battle and stuff, I thought was cool. Here's my one question, right? Because of the technology that he has in his suit, that's why he doesn't have to have, right? Like it's like literally plot armor. Okay? Because he's not a superhuman, it's just vibranium. It's just technology that helps him be what he is, and it's just like that, that kind of eliminates all kind of friction that you have with a character that's not a superhero. He's just a regular person in a costume, and then when he's not in the costume, stuff's happening to him, and you're like, okay, I don't know. It's a little weird. I'll wait for it to come on Disney Plus, and I'll continue watching it or watch the whole thing again. All right, let's get started. You mean like Batman? Yeah, but it's different though, Water, with the DC universe. Like the way Batman is, Falcon wasn't established as that, and Captain America wasn't established as that. Captain America was established as a superhuman. Where Anthony Mackie's Captain America or Falcon, he's using tech, and the tech that he had on his suit before he became Captain America, which now has vibranium and all the other stuff, it just feels weird. Right? It's like he's not Iron Man, but he's sort of Iron Man. He's not Captain America, but he's sort of Captain America. He's Falcon, but not really Falcon. Right? It's like he's like lost in this like limbo world of what type of character he is. And it's just a little weird. All right, let me go. Let's start off with Battlefield news here. So, if you want to go look for it, you can definitely find it on Reddit and whatnot. Battlefield, right? We'll bring this up. Battlefield had their tests going on the other day. Okay, had their tests with the battle labs and whatnot. They have this in. I wonder if they had this written out in a full form on a website, but probably not. Everyone signs an NDA. We knew it was going to break 3 seconds after it came out, right? We said it on Thursday night. I was like, it's going to leak. It's going to leak super fast, right? I hope it's good. The stuff that I've seen, I'll be honest with you. If you told me that this wasn't leaked and you just showed me footage, I would think you were playing Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. 100%. Like, just look at it and go, oh, cool, it's Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 with updated graphics. Okay? So, obviously, with people playing, it was going to leak one form or another. I just kind of wish that if they want people to know about the system, they want people to know about the game, but they don't want to fully share it yet, even though it's fully shared, right? You follow me here? It's like, you don't want anyone to know about what you're doing, but you let everyone sign up. You don't want to let anyone know what you're doing, but you haven't pulled anything down from Reddit or anything like that. It's still up there for people to see, right? And you're telling us everything that was in the test. Just show us. Just show us. Okay? They're being open, but not open. It's kind of weird. It's almost as weird as where Captain America is right now. Okay? If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. We just cover news stories, have conversations about it. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as low as $5. All right, so BF Labs Gunplay of Movement. It says, this is our first and regular community updates to keep you informed about the features that we're testing in Battlefield Labs. Today we'll focus on elements of gunplay and movement. Just from this alone, I'm a little confused, right? It's a small closed beta that no one's allowed to talk about what's happening. But yet they're coming out to tell you, hey, this is what we did for the test. Doesn't that feel weird? Okay. So it says our design philosophy for gunplay and movement. We're continuously involved in gunplay and movement mechanics throughout the Battlefield series, and now with the Battlefield Labs, we're focused on refining the best elements in the past titles, modernizing them, and validating if it feels fun and rewarding, which is good. Got to have good gunplay. Has to feel fun. It has to feel rewarding. And they have to have been balanced between control and dynamic combat. It says, we're designing designing a combat experience to ensure players of all skill levels can enjoy the gunplay and movement system. Our goal is to offer gameplay reward skills with precise weapon feedback and movement options for veterans while providing intuitive experience for new players and to learn and enjoy. It says for Gunplay, we're exploring design centered on helping you to learn and develop skills, muscle memory through actions, as weapons naturally signal in the recoil direction, and the feedback loop allows to understand the adjust of your aim, making it easier to handle different weapons. And this system not only adds variety, but it also enhances each weapon unique feel and play style. Yabba yabba yabba. Just go look at the footage. Go look at the footage. You can see the feel of it. You can see what the gunplay is, and it seems just like Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. Okay, it says movement is also deeply integrated in the gunplay. As your actions and targets of all parts of the same cohesive combat experience, we aim to make movement both feel intuitive and rewarding to move within the world and during combat, but also when playing against someone else using both the gunplay and movement systems in their maximum potential. So, what's new and improved for our gunplay and movement? Again, instead of them talking about this, show it. Show it. Proof is in the pudding, right? Just show it. Words on paper, we can say and go, oh man, it sounds amazing. But when you go look at it, you're like, okay, cool. It's the exact same. It's the exact same. So initially, we tested select but important areas of creating a foundation required to create a fun, rewarding Battlefield combat experience. We're making focused efforts to create consistent and optimized millisecond to millisecond soldier combat, and also share some key examples of changing what will be available during the initial play session. We reduced the time it takes to bullets to appear on your screen from when you also press fire. The change decrease is also input delay, makes shooting feel more responsive and also helps you better track and hit moving targets. We've optimized for a 60 hertz tick rate, which ensures the game servers more frequent updates and position of the actions for all players. The result is responsive gameplay across all platforms and inputs. You'll notice more precise shooting movement, engaged damage feedback, and more accurate representation of players' position and combat outcomes. Okay. We're also adjust the recoil system to make the different weapon types feel unique when firing them. Through the enhancements of gunplay recoil, camera shakes, and also firing settles. Each shot's recoil direction now matches the gameplay's angle. The weapon visualization stabilizes the more accurate and handling it is, and making you feel more accurately firing and controlling it. To evolve the movement system, we've revamped animations and reintroduced a movement feature such as crouch and sprint, okay, combat dive, and landing roll. I hope. Now, I didn't see it in the footage that I saw, but maybe I missed it. I don't think you can dive and start doing all the angle changes like you do in Call of Duty. But, diving has always been in the game. Well, for the past decade or whatever, right? So the combat and the dive and land rolling and stuff like that. So hopefully it's not like Call of Duty. Okay? It says it makes it easier to understand the movement such as vaulting or leaning are possible. Now, the leaning is interesting because at some point they took it out, and now they're putting it back in where it wasn't dominant in the game before. It says feedback and validation. At the stage content of Battlefield Labs is pre-alpha, and the play session takes place in the closed dev environment focused on testing small chunks of larger array of features. Some gameplay features also placeholder, work in progress, and bugs, performance, and being repetitive, and also final experience. Okay, however, even during the early stages of development, we're getting good sense of the new approach. During our first play session, our teams are validating the systems and also stabilizing the Battlefield Labs, such as server performance, while also participating in able to familiarize themselves with the next Battlefield through testing, gunplay, movement, experience, and focus on. They'll feel a difference in weapon archetypes, improve the aim and control, weapon balance and fun factor, look and feel movement, moving interacting with the also the map, and combat pacing. Here's a crazy idea, right? And maybe you've noticed this. All of this seems like stuff that should have been in Battlefield already, right? You shouldn't have to test your aim controls or the way your movement is or the way you're doing. Only reason you would have to do this is not really for us, the gamer. It's for them, the developer. We know that 90%, 85, 90% of the people making this Battlefield have never worked on a Battlefield ever, right? So obviously, if people that worked on this game prior They wouldn't have to make sure that the movement and interacting with the map feels good, okay, if the combat pacing is good, because if they did, they're just redoing what they've done, right? We've played Battlefield 1, 43, Vietnam. You know what I mean? We've played Battlefield 2, 2042, 2142, right? All of this stuff that's in the game should be in the game. Like, I know how to make meatballs, right? I know how to bake a cake. I've done it before. I know the recipe. The recipe for Battlefield is not for us. You playtesting here is not for us. It's for them to go, hey, wait a minute. Do we know what we're doing? Is this close enough to the stuff that we had in the past? Because we've never actually made a Battlefield game before. That's what I'm getting from this. But these are just my thoughts, right? Just stay tuned. Lastly, a reminder, while it's also play session, while it's also within the closed environment, we can't invite everyone in every session. We'll make sure to keep you informed on ongoing Battlefield Labs play session and learnings through these regular community updates. Sign up for Battlefield Labs. Again, this is all promotional stuff, right? Oh, you want to get into the next one? Sign up. It's a pre-order. It's a pre-order to see what type of people are, who's excited for this. Just show us the footage. Just show us the footage. There's no point, especially since you're trying to get new players. If you're trying to get new players, there's no point in not showing us the footage. We just had a video last week talking about Kingard, right? Now, obviously, this is not out yet. But what do gamers want? Want to see gameplay. Would you go see gameplay right now? You could go see gameplay right now. But if gameplay was actually on YouTube right now, they would pull it. Why? Because they don't want people to see their early access or testing or whatnot. But if you're going to be transparent, you're going to show us this, and you want the public to know, hey, we're trying to make the best Battlefield game for you, okay? Then just show the test footage. Just show it. Let people upload the stuff. Let people share what they've played. Because otherwise, it seems a little weird to me that you're going to, in text form, going, yeah, the weapon archetypes are better. The improvement for the aim and control feels better. The look and stuff feels good. Show us 5 seconds of gameplay, right? People have been like meticulously breaking down the 10 seconds of footage they showed from 3 weeks ago when they first showed us the Battlefield clip, right? And they're breaking that down. Now there's an 11-minute long footage out there. There could be thousands of footage out there. And I get from an optics perspective, people go, well, this could look at, and they'll see it. We understand it's early access. We understand. But if they take a footage, put it on their official site, and say, hey, this is what we got going on so far, let us know your feedback. What's the harm in that? Take the good, take the bad. Okay, there's the Facts of Life song in there. Okay, but get the feedback that you want. So you got the feedback of the people that actually played it. Now get the feedback of the people that are going to play it down the road. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. Let me know what you think. If you saw the footage of the Battlefield, the new Battlefield test that happened that has to be leaked online, let me know what you thought about it. Right? I wasn't impressed, but I also wasn't underwhelmed. I was just kind of like, okay, cool. It's Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. Right? Again, let me know yours in the comment section down below. Let me know in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. Now, let's see what you guys are saying here. Sard says, just recovering from a 6-hour board game marathon with friends and tequila. Wait, is your friends the other alcohols or just tequila? Or is there actual friends? Let's see. Crouch and sprint, WTF. Do you know how hard that is? So they're going the arcade route. Sard says, we don't have a diverse set of weapons and how they also can handle differently their impact for 4 different studios. They don't want even to consider you a game. Waterbender says, I want to see you try to crouch and sprint an M4. Maybe they're crouching and sprinting like Gears of War. Maybe they're like Gears of War. This game will be a goddamn arcade game. Odd Light 2? I hope not. I hope not. The footage I saw, it literally, first of all, they're using a lot of assets from Battlefield 2042. So even the overlays and stuff looks like Battlefield 2042. But the area of the game looks like Battlefield 3 and 4. So it's very weird. It's almost like I just said about Captain America in the beginning, about like he kind of like Iron Man, kind of like Captain America, Falcon. It's just weird. Will scoreboards be in the game? I think there was scoreboards in the footage. Sarge says it doesn't matter if you didn't work on the Battlefield game before. There are 10 Battlefield games out. Play a fucking Battlefield game and learn. Right. But that's what I'm saying. The way it moves, right? The way they're doing it for gunplay and movement and stuff like that. It's like, how do you not just recreate the game that you've already created? What's going on, Altorn? Robert Jones says, just fast crouching, walking seems very taxing. Waterbear says, most of the time when you're not excited about a game, it's a mediocre game. If a gift and also a curse, experience gaming. Yeah. And again, it's not, actually, I would take it rather than being sad about it, Water. I'm like looking at it going, it's not bad, right? Like 3 and 4 was good, right? There's even moments of like Bad Company 2 in what I saw. And I'm like, all right, maybe there's hope. Maybe there's hope. Maybe we can actually get excited about this thing. But again, I'm not really that excited. Robert Jones says, I hope they add the drag body feature. Yeah, probably not. The people that were actually working on the game before don't even work for the studio anymore. And I don't think the new people working in the studio are going to be able to do this. I think they'll leave it out. Maybe. Who knows? Travis says, Mike, important question. Is this just for Battlefield 3? Why wouldn't it just play Battlefield 3? Well, you would play you could go play Battlefield 3, but the servers are not really that big, right? So if this is just Battlefield 3, let's just say it was a remake of Battlefield 3. Make a problem, solve a solution. The problem is there's not many people playing the old game, right? The solution is let's sell you a new game, even though it's a remake. It could be a remake, basically. I'm not saying it's a remake. What I'm saying is it could be a remake. And it'd be the exact same. Instead of saying Battlefield 6, it could be like Battlefield 3 remastered. That's basically the way it looks right now. But I don't know. There's supposed to be a campaign, though, Travis. There's supposed to be a campaign. That mechanic was supposed to be in Battlefield 5. That's correct. But the people that were making Battlefield 5, majority of the people left during Battlefield 5, and they left the studio. The people that were left in Battlefield 5 studio and then went on to, what's it called? Go make the next Battlefield, which is Battlefield 2042. These people didn't make a game. They've never made a game before, right? So this was their first attempt at Battlefield 2042, which was, I think, 75%. And then 15% more of the people came on. So 75% made 2042. The rest of the people never made a Battlefield game before. And there's like 5% of the people that actually made a Battlefield game. So the people that wanted to put that Battlefield stuff in there for the pulling the body or picking up the body and carrying them, they're not there. They left. They went to go make whatever the other one, the finals. They all went to that company instead. James Thomas says Battlefield 3 is my favorite. Battlefield 3 was the pinnacle. Was like the most beloved one, and then it tapered off. In my opinion, I think. Let me go look up the stats. I'm pretty sure. I think Battlefield 4 might have sold more than Battlefield 3. Battlefield. I don't think I'm getting that confused. Let's see. Wikipedia. It's Battlefield total game sales. Let's see. Yeah, so Battlefield 3 was the pinnacle. Okay, let me bring this up on the screen for you. Okay. So Battlefield Bad Company 2, okay, only had 2.59 million people play it, right? Then Battlefield 43, the arcade version that was just on the Xbox, was 3.64 million people bought it, right? Oh, I'm sorry, that was Bad Company. Bad Company 2 had 6.54 million people that played it. And then Battlefield went up to 17 million. Okay. And then 17 million from Battlefield 3 to down to 14.81, down to 4.1. Look at the difference, right? People saw Bad Company and said, wow, this is a fun game. And then when they showed Battlefield 3, people lost their mind, right? 2.5 times the amount of people that played Bad Company 2 went to Bad Company 3. Or, I'm sorry, Battlefield 3. And then it tapered off down a little bit to Battlefield 4. And then Hardline just literally fell off the cliff. And then we got Battlefield 1, which is 25 million players, but we don't know the actual sales of that. And then we went down to 7.3 for that. And then we don't know what Battlefield 2042 is. But Battlefield 3 was the pinnacle of the game sales for them. And that was their closest ever to competing with Call of Duty. And they were still about 20 million off, if not more. Right? I think Call of Duty in 2011 sold, I think it was like 35 or 40 million copies or something like that. The clip says, I think we're just going to do a whole, that was a labs or whatever I mean, right? The perfect live service game. Sure. I don't know if they make Battlefield a live service completely, or if they just do what they've done with Madden and everything else before, where they just come out every couple of years. Well, those come out every couple of years or every year. I think this will come out every couple of years, but we'll see. This is why it's so dumb for them to drop Battlefront, because in their vision before, they were like, oh, we're going to do a Battlefront, Battlefield, Battlefront, Battlefield. And because they would do that, they would give them time in between, and you wouldn't get so sick of just playing the same game over and over and over. Waterbear says, sounds like it's another dud. Give it 18 and 24 months after release, and you get a full gaming experience then. Probably. What's going on, Ron? The finals is damn good. Yeah. I like the fully destructible environment. I just don't like the game mode. I don't like that game, or that style of game. But the creators of it did a phenomenal job of the destruction. Great. If this game is Battlefield 3.5, I'm happy. I mean, are you saying if it's 3.5, like it's just as good as Battlefield 3, right? It's just as good as Battlefield 3. You'd be okay with it. Yeah, that's fair. Or my problem is that the people that are working on the game have never made the game before. Majority of the people have never made the game before. Hence why I'm saying this playtest is not for us. It's for them to go, oh, yeah, we have to fix this. We have to do this. I mean, obviously, that's what a beta and alpha is. I don't know if I'm getting my point across. Okay. Obviously, that's what alpha and beta is, right? Test it so the developers know what they're doing. But what I'm trying to say is that these developers that are making a Battlefield game have never made a Battlefield game before, or majority of them have never made a Battlefield game before. So when they say, yeah, we're looking for gunplay and movement, they're trying to see how close they've matched it because they've never made a game before. Like I said earlier, like if I ask you to make something you've already made before, you don't have to think about it. You could make the code for it. You know what you have to do to make that game feel like it was in the past because you worked on the last game. None of these people have done that, right? So I think they need more of this, and this is why they're being so upfront and candid about it. Like, yeah, we're opening this up because they probably sat down. Again, I'm speculating all of this, right? Just my brain power. This is like what I feel like has happened, right? They sat down and said, there's no way for us to match what they're doing over there unless we get feedback. We don't have enough Q&A testers for this. They're like, all right, well, what about if we open up and make a testing ground and then invite thousands and thousands of people to come in and play these things, and we get the feedback, and then we can hone in on much faster. And they're like, yeah, let's do that. Obviously, I think it's good, but at the same time, it's worrying because to me, it doesn't seem like they're just trying to fix it for us. They're more like trying to get it as close as possible just so they can get out the door and then fix it later. Flip says Battlefield 3 was one of the best first-person shooters ever. I had one of my memories playing that game. Altern says, so this is Battlefield, the most Battlefield we've ever had, or is it just marketing like they did with 2042? That's my problem, Altern. I think it's somewhere in between right now, right? They're using the players like they did when they said this is a Battlefield moment, like the last Battlefield game, 2042, and they missed the mark, right? So I feel like it's a marketing ploy, but at the same time, you know, who knows? Find out. All right, let's see here. Waterbear says, so people looking for a good Battlefield game, but for some reason, they can't make it because they know what the gamers want, but the gamers don't know what they want. That's right. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Battlefield 3 campaign and multiplayer was top-notch. Agreed, James. Agreed. My favorite one is Bad Company 2. I like that story a little bit better. But 100%, I'm not going to argue. Battlefield 3 campaign and the game itself is a really good game. Z says, oh, 30, do you have a point? Do I have a point? I think I've made that, right? I've made my point. Flip says, Titanfall had a better story, but Battlefield 3 had a better online, in my opinion. The story was also pretty close. Titanfall, I will say Battlefield 3 is better. Travis says, Mike, I'm going to be blunt. I don't give a fuck on how good Battlefield 6 is. What we want is Battlefront 3. Yeah, but they're working on this now, right? So I want Battlefield 6 to be good, because if Battlefield 6 isn't good, and these are the same people that are going to make Battlefront 3, Travis, well, then I have issues. So I want Battlefield 6, or whatever the Battlefield is going to be called, to be really good. That way, once they're done making that game, they can go on to make a Battlefront 3 and be good. Altern says, so this Battlefield is not hardline yet. Look, that number here, you don't ever want to be this number, right? You don't ever want to go from 14 million to 4, back to 25. That is a giant. See, here you could say, like, look, they went up, right? 2.4, 1.3, 2.2, 1.6, right? This is the worst. Battlefield 2142, okay? But 2.5, 3.6, 6.5, 17, 14, 4, 25. It's like, what? What happened here? What happened here with Hardline? He says, for the 17 months, appreciate that very much. Thank you very much for the 17 months. As I was trolling, as you messaged your Battlefield. Oh, my Battlefield take. Gotcha. I got you. You were just trolling me. I was like, did I not get my point across? Did I not get it across? Hardline's greater than 2042. We don't know 2042 sales. We don't know 2042 sales. Did they even mention it? I think it did pretty good. Battlefield 2042. We have total sales. No, we don't have anything. Did it sell well? Did it say it sold well? The first installment of the franchise, no, it's 1942. Did 2042 make a profit? Okay, we estimated that Battlefield 2042 made $652 million in gross revenue since it released. Okay, let's take that number, right? $652 million, right? So if it made $652 million divided by 70, 9 million. 9 million copies, right? If it sold that many. Again, some people paid 150, some people paid more, some people paid less. But that's money. 652 million, which is 9.3 million copies sold, roughly, at $70 a piece. Right? Did that underperform? Is that successful? I don't know. Speaking of success, 9 million plus Game Pass users? No, that's money-wise. Money-wise. $652 million it made, okay, estimated-wise. That wouldn't include Game Pass people playing. That's not players. That's people that bought it. Robert Jones says, I think 2042 outsold Hardline, but Hardline was a better product, just off theme. I didn't like it at all. I mean, I guess what you're saying is it was a better game, just fundamentally a better game. Sure. Sure. It was solid. Solid meaning it wasn't broke, buggy, and unfinished. It was just wasn't Battlefield. All right. Let's go to the next story here, which is Transformers. Been coming up a lot lately, right? About a month ago, Transformers Reactivate got canceled. Then we got Saber Interactive talking about potentially making a Transformer. They said a Hasbro IP, and we're all hoping it's a Transformers game. Then I made a video saying that Transformers 1, even though I liked the movie, but it bombed at the box office, and we got some people that are upset about that. And the few that do comment in our videos said that it bombed because of marketing, and I would say sure, but it also bombed because people aren't interested in that Transformers. Okay, if it was well received, it would have made a profit. And if it made a profit, people would have bought the toys. Can't find toys. Can't find toys. And I saw this article, I saw this heading, and I was like, well, they're talking about problematic franchise trend, right? And this is about Transformers. Okay. Now, let's see what this article has to say. Now, I think by my logic here is that Transformers, when it came out in 1986, okay, or 84, 86 was the movie, 84 was the show, okay? When the show came out, the sole purpose of this show in the 80s was to sell toys. The show exists because of the toys. The toys exist because of the show. They go hand in hand. They literally made a show to advertise the toys. Here we are in 2025. You go to Target, you go to Walmart, you go to Best Buy, you go to any place you could buy a toy, you can't find fucking toys. You can't find Transformers. And the only people that are buying Transformers is people like myself who are in their 40s or in their mid-30s. And they're collectors because they like what it was. Okay? Transformers itself right now has a fantastic comic book run. Okay? But Transformers brand, and I had a short about this, okay? Transformers is the perfect toy. You can't make a better toy. If you had to sit there and go, what kind of toy would be so popular because it does all of these things, you couldn't come up with one. Couldn't come up with one. Because Transformers, like I said in my short, it's cars, it's trucks, it's planes, it's bugs, dinosaurs, they transform, they're robots, they're from space. Like, you can't market it something better to people. But the problem is, they're not marketing it at all. All right, so Transformers, the newest toy line, validates concerns about the problematic franchise trend. It's not getting better. Okay? Ever since its debut in 1984, the Transformers franchise has been a multimedia brand that thrived in multiple places at once. Thus, the release of cartoons, comic books, movies, video games always correspond with the company's actions and figures, and with these being some of the main ways in which the property has stayed alive. Unfortunately, one upcoming new take on the robots disguise has continued to have providing a failed attempt to gaining younger fans. Again, if you have robots that transform into cars and trucks and dinosaurs and insects, and you can't get the fan base, there's something wrong. Okay? Fundamentally wrong with what you're putting out there. Okay? The Transformers Cyberworld, Toyline, and animated series are the next legs of the franchise, with these meant to appeal to kids in particular. Sadly, the quality of the nature of both already seemed fairly lacking, especially given that these things here were also brand 1 of 2 decades ago, and if anything, things being done this way are only driving Transformers further in nostalgic irrelevance. Okay? Hence why I made my point that if they're going to make a new game, can't make it based on the new franchise. No one's interested in the new franchise of Transformers. Okay? The people that are interested in Transformers are already Transformers fans, and they're trying to reach to the newer model. But the problem is, there's more people that are fans of the older stuff than the newer stuff. So if you're going to make a video game, you can't base it on the new stuff. You got to base it on the older stuff, whatever that is. But you got to base it on the older stuff. I'm not saying Generation 1. I'm just saying you have to make it on the older stuff because the newer stuff is not selling. There is no fan base in the newer stuff. Okay? So Transformers Cyberworld is reaching too young with its target audience. Okay? Its first full look at the Transformers Cyberworld has just been revealed at Hasbro, and it's clear that the Toyline and animated series are made almost entirely with very young kids in mind. The quality and nature of the upcoming toys has already been compared to cheap action figures from McDonald's and similar toy lines meant for incredibly young fans that are almost preschool level. It comes off as an attempt to gain the next generation of Transformers fans, which is more than worthy pursuit for a brand by the way of Hasbro. So look, this is some of the Transformers that they have. Okay, these look horrible, by the way, horrible. Right? Let's take a look real fast. Right? Let me go grab my Transformer. Obviously, let me go full screen for this. Okay, this is Optimus Prime. Okay, look at this truck. Okay, color scheme, the way he's built, right? Like everything about this thing is badass. Okay, like this is, and I still have my original. Okay, but these look at this toy, and then look at the one that you're seeing on screen right there. Okay, stop it. You want kids to like your Transformers, but you're giving them absolute garbage. Okay, absolute garbage. And these things don't transform like the Transformers that we have, right? They have. Why do I need to open it, Kraken? I already have the original one open. That's the one in the box that's a collectible. I have. You want me to go get the original one? Because I have the original one. Okay. These Transformers are like transformed. That's it. It's like you lift up the back, right, and then the whole thing's transformed. What is this? My first Transformer. What is that? Look at his arms. They're just stiff as hell. Terrible. So the first look at the Transformers Cyberworld has just been revealed by Hasbro. It's clear that the Toyline animated series is made almost entirely with very young kids in mind. We already read that one. Okay. Unfortunately, it's not quite being done in the right way. It's hard to see these toys enticing little ones over streaming content on tablets and electronics. Even with kids, or even kids that might be able to see the fairly cheap nature of these collectibles, making them appeal to only the smallest youngsters. This is not appealing to youngsters. This is appealing to adults that have kids like, oh, robot, I have boy, I give him robot he play with, right? Like, that's the basic marketing thing. They're like, yeah, you're just going to get this and give it to the kid, and the kid's just going to shove it in his mouth and start eating it or whatever, because that's the type of Transformers they are. Transformers are meant for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, right? Like the upper kids, right? Not toddlers. Toddlers not going to do that. Those are McDonald's toys. They don't care. When you start to actually look at 4-year-old, even maybe a 4-year-old, a little too young. Maybe you give them the mini bots or whatnot, right? But this stuff is not doing it. And this is a bigger problem for Hasbro. This is the toy line. This is why I'm talking about the video games down the line, right? There's a complete lack of articulation in these toys, which doesn't exactly work for the main figures in the series for younger fans. Transformers Studio Series and Transformers Age of Primes are more collector-oriented figures, but it's also not as that majority of these are so articulate and complex. They also are ward kids off. If anything, they end up being far more compelling to kids than Transformers and Cyberworld options, which also these are easy to outgrow. The animated series will also be composed of 36 episodes in total, and these are being only 5 minutes in length. What are we? 36 episodes at 5 minutes each? Jesus Christ. What? No wonder no one's showing up to Transformers. Okay? It's an obvious attempt to grab the audience that's also being fed the strict diet, okay, of Skibbity toilet? What the is that the thing with the head coming out of the toilet? Jesus Christ. But even then, his bite is also short-sighted, long-form storytelling, and shows that can also still be a major hit amongst young viewers, as shown by the success of various anime. This is actually a bolster of argument that which handles the Transformers in Japan needs to take a control of the brand in general, naming that they also have having a major Transformer anime produced, sadly something that's in the nature that hasn't been norm in the franchise in over a decade, right? The problem that they're doing, even Transformers 1, the trailer, right? The trailer for Transformers 1 did not market what the movie was. Did not market what the movie was. Completely dropped the ball. They should have redone the trailer. The trailer did no justice for what the movie was. Transformers 1 was actually a pretty goddamn good movie. But you wouldn't know that if you saw the trailer and went, nah, I'm out. Okay? It says first airing in 2010 and airing on the TV network, The Hub, Transformers Prime, was the acclaimed animated series, acted as something of a watershed moment of the brand. One of many desperate manifestations of the amorphous aligned continued Transformers Prime combined with elements and characters from Generation 1. Combined with Generation 1. I wonder why the last show that was successful was combine elements with Generation 1 in live-action Transformers movies, pursuing the cartoon continuity of the Transformers animated. The show was fairly serious, and while it also had more comical moments, it was a lot darker and than many cartoons in the West, including Transformers animated. This tone is also the way in which also lore was treated. Was also saw a series of lauded by fans and critics. It wasn't the only popular part of the incarnation. Transformers Prime storyline was the main set of action figures and franchise that is also the time besides the Transformers Generation figures, and proceeded to the current Transformers Legacy and Transformers Age of Prime's toys. While they were also meant for kids and adults, they were also dumbed down. They also characters designed as slow challenging to young and old fans alike, and this is all that had a several beloved figures. Sadly, method of figures also franchise ended it with the series. Transformers Prime was also followed by 2015 version of Transformers Robots in Disguise, which notably had a more lighthearted tone and cartoonish design despite being direct sequel. The toys for this series were definitely a step down in complexity, and even then it was also still main series of figures. Since then, the figures of animated shows such as Transformers Cyberverse and Transformers Earthspark have also done the same, with results aren't exactly pretty. These toys seamlessly don't appeal to even the young fans they meant to court, as shown by the low sales of many of these figures. This is just another problem, right? You keep shoving these shitty Transformers down people's throats, and they don't transform. I was 5, 6, okay, when Transformers came out. They were the most complex transforming thing, and you know what? That was good, because it made my brain actually work, right? The problem, in my opinion, is not only are we dumbing down everything, okay? We're dumbing down everything for the kids, right? We're not even use their brains anymore. They're like, yeah, here's how you transform Bumblebee. Done. Like, what? Like, how do you have a franchise where you can't even sell to your market audience of boys that like cars, jets, dinosaurs? It's amazing to me, okay? It's overall night and day compared to where the brand was during the days of Transformers. Prime was also even a decade beforehand with the release of the toys for the Unicron trilogy anime. And while the Transformers Armada line was criticized for how simplistic and articulate it could be, many of the figures were veritable high-end machines compared to what it was also being sold to kids today. It ends up being a self-fulfilling prophecy, with Hasbro attempts to increase the engagement with kids backfiring due to how low quality these products are, and with noteworthy of collect and play with it's unsurprising the next generation is uninterested in Transformers collectibles. Exactly. Make a shitty toy, right? Why is Generation 1 so beloved? Because I was 6 and now I'm 46. So 40 years later, I'm still interested in Transformers because why? The toys were cool. Why? The TV show was cool. Why do you guys like Beast Wars? Of your those of you that are younger than me, okay, that came after Generation 1, you like Beast Wars. Why? Because the show was cool. The toys were cool, okay? Now these kids are being fed these garbage toys with garbage shows, and they don't care. They don't care about the toy line. They don't care about the shows. They don't care about the comics. It's fundamentally broke the entire franchise down. Okay. Transformers, it says, has a tone problem. Okay. The biggest issue with Transformers at the moment is its unbreakable obsession with nostalgia. But a few of new things being done have very weight of getting them. Okay. Getting younger fans interested is key, but the kneecapping when the methods used to do so have a low ceiling potential. Pandering to kids in the least marketable ways is also only push them away for something that seems uncool, all while doing the same older fans who feel alienated by themselves. I am the Transformers fan. Okay. I am your market audience back in the day. I still buy toys all through my years. Okay. Going to my 20s and 30s and 40s. I still buy the toys. I still see the things. I'm like, hey, right? My son has no interest in Transformers, the new Transformers. Okay. He only has interest in the old Transformers. Why? Because they're cool things that transform. They're not just simplistic things that just fold and then they're done. Okay. It says even seeing the initial trailers of marketing of the 2024 animated movie Transformers 1, which ended up being both well-received film and the box office flop. Right? Well-received film because the people that are Transformers fans went to go see the thing. Okay? But a box office flop because not enough new Transformers fans went to go see it because there are no new Transformers fans. Hence why, when I made my video just about a week ago talking about if Saber Interactive makes a Transformers game, they shouldn't base it off Transformers 1. They should base it off of the older generation, okay? Because there is no market. There is no market for new Transformers. There is only a market for old Transformers, okay? The over-the-top humor in the vein of Marvel Cinematic Universe annoyed older fans and drove them away. It's likewise didn't appeal to the kids in the same vein as something as much as Minions. The aforementioned, whatever the toilet guy is, Skitty Bo, thus is also left holding a bag waiting for the audience to show up, and it ultimately went ignored despite the overall praise. Okay, that's not to say that things have entirely serious, but the making of them in vein of the comedic trends have become old hat in the cinema overall, arguably marketing the disaster. The movie itself wasn't like a Marvel film, but the way they marketed it, it was. Okay, the same goes on to a cheap kids' toys that also will only be able to sold for the 5 and under crowd. At this point, the best route for the franchise is prevailing the merchandise would be to target a much more reliable target audience, pre-adolescent and teens. Imagine that. Imagine that. After the Transformers Cyberworld series concludes, that also may end up being the brief run of the next iteration of the franchise should try appealing to the audience that can't get enough of the action-oriented anime. The sweet spot should be making something that the younger teens love, that also still appropriate enough where the younger siblings can also watch along. Transformers can't survive on the aging generation and classic fans forever, but it will also fail to grow with the young audience if it goes after to ignore it completely. If it ever needs to brand associated with a pre-K crowd and being more malleable, it's also still having a sort of go-to tone and also help maintain the same consistency of the Teen Mutant Turtles, which also both child-friendly and also adult-oriented. Okay, content across the board. For now, the only thing that can really be moving the needle would be the exact opposite for more watered-down fare being sold for Transformers Cyberworld. So the better the balancing the act that needs to maintain for the proper, now over 4 decades old, right? Obviously, you can't make toys for the adults. Okay, you can't do it because obviously we can buy collectors, but we're not going to buy this thing. Okay, we're not buying that. No one's buying that to take it out of the box and play with it. Someone of my age. Okay, you're not even collecting that and putting it on your shelf. You're just like, that's fucking stupid. Okay, but you would buy a toy of collectibles if you're still doing Generation 1, like the Master Series and stuff like that, because that's what appeals to the older generation. But for the younger generation, you can't make things like this. Okay? Kindergarteners are not buying toys. The moms and dads are buying the toys for their kid. Okay? The kid is not watching the TV show because mom and dad are not letting them watch the TV show. So there's a problem there. There's a disconnect, right? The kids that are actually watching stuff, if it's on YouTube or whatever it is, okay, they need to actually watch the stuff themselves and then like the stuff because they're not shitty toys, okay? In video game aspect, okay, the average gamer is 35 years old. The average gamer is 35 years old and up, okay? if you're going to market a Transformers game, you cannot market it off of old or off of new Transformers to the older market. If you want a Transformers game to come out and be successful, you have to first market it towards the generation that's playing games, which is 35 and above. Okay? 35 and above will buy Transformers game if it's a Transformers game that they think is cool. Okay? After that, then you'll start looking at kids and going, oh, wow, this is a really cool thing. Instead of changing Transformers every fucking year and making them look different every single year, make a cool show, even if it's based off Generation 1's cosmetic looks, okay? And just make a good show. They'll like it. Just update it to the current model of anime, and people would love it. But no, you have these people out there going, no, Generation 1 is the worst one ever, and you don't know what you're talking about because these other ones are successful as well. There's only 2 successful ones out there. Generation 1 and Beast. Those are it. Even Netflix knew this. So when they made the Netflix show, what did they put in there? Generation 1 and Beast Wars. Okay? Because that's the only ones that actually have been profitable and sold. Every single Transformers game that's been successful has been on the older generation, not a newer model of like this stuff. All of this stuff that they're making for Transformers is just absolute garbage across the board. This is why Reactivate, we're like looking at it going, oh, cool, maybe they've transformed. They were taking it, and Bumblebee didn't look like Bumblebee from G1, okay? But the Transformers started looking cool, and we're like, okay, maybe we can get behind this. Nope. They decided to close down the shop and say, fuck it, we're not going to do it. Hasbro has no idea what they're doing with this toy brand. Star Wars has no idea what they're doing with Star Wars, or Lucasfilm has no idea what they're doing with Star Wars. WB doesn't know what they're doing with all of the IPs they have. These 3 companies have the largest IPs on the planet Earth, and these 3 do not know what they're doing with the IPs they have. These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe if you like what I do here. Check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. Let me see here. Scrolling back up to see what you guys are saying. Roic says the Transformers game is asked about looks like the older cartoon. This sounds like the same issue that Star Wars has. That's right, Water. Same exact one. Altern says if they also make a game, they can also base it on the old stuff and sell skins that look like new stuff. And if their skins sell good, then they can make a game based on that. That actually sounds like a really good idea, Altern, right? You market it towards the big, like the older generation, and then you sell newer skins. So if you are a newer person in the Transformers, but you don't want to look at Optimus Prime the old way, you can get a skin that making it look the new way. Kylo says, bro, the new kids Transformers animated show had non-binary robot. Like, come on. That's what sells. That's what sells, Kylo. Jason says, I miss collecting the Masterpiece line. So good. Sarge has a whole bunch of them. Alton says, that's it. Just move his head around and become a dino. That's it. Just, hey, transformed. Was a transformer done by your neighbor with his 3D printer, or was it from Etsy? That doesn't ring a bell at all. Transformer done by your neighbor, not me. Must be confusing me with someone else. Transformers G.I. Joe, He-Man, sometimes Thundercats was my life as a kid. Well, they're making a He-Man live-action movie. G.I. Joe's in the works for a video game. I think they're making a G.I. Joe / Transformers movie. And Thundercats, I think, is also in development. You might be reliving your childhood. Hopefully they don't shit on it. My mouth is really dry today. Sarge says, oh, we're back to the cheap robots that articulate, or don't articulate. Genius move. Yeah, imagine. They're just... Yeah, the articulation's so good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like these figurines are really cool. They don't move though, right? But they're really cool pieces of collector. Right? Now, if these articulated and move, it would be badass. But these are really cool. If they made Transformers like this, I would collect them. Let's see. Let's go on Mandalorian. Was buying Activision a mistake? We haven't got there yet. We haven't got there yet. Let's see. Morning, Wonder Rose. Dolphin says, I have 1 week until I start a new job. Please pray I don't become a bigger alcoholic. Cool. Don't drink. There you go. Easier said than done where I know where you live. So bottom line, a toy company does not know how to sell toys to boys. Let that sink in. Amazing. Transformers. Robots in disguise. Good old Silverhawks? Yep. Remember them. My little brother is 10 years younger than me. I remember he also did love Teenage Ninja Turtles, like Ninja Turtles a little bit. 30, how many turtles I bought him? Ask 30 how many turtles I bought him. Oh, yeah. Sarge when I was younger, I mean, he bought every time he saw a foot soldier, he would buy one. Yeah. So we could literally recreate the entire show because we have enough foot soldiers to make it look like they're having a battle against, like, I don't know, 50 of them. We have so many. X Factor says, every time I go to Target, I go to the toy aisle. Of course. I do the same thing. And every time you go there, you get disappointed because there's nothing there. You're like, this toy's garbage. My son had a Power Rangers at 2 or 3 years old or so after Empire Strikes Back edition when he was 5, Phantom Menace at 7. Never looked at anything as beloved. Bracken says Beast Wars was my favorite growing up. So good. Yeah, and I understand that. A lot of people get upset with me when I say like Generation 1's better than Beast Wars. For me, because I'm older, right? But Beast Wars is good, but it's not as beloved because of the little problems with it, with the animation, right? That was the biggest problem with it. Could Transformers move into the future after Megatron and Prime are dead? New way to bring into the robots? Oh, they tried that soy. You understand that they tried to get away from Megatron, okay, and Optimus Prime. They killed them in the movie, okay? They killed everybody. And when they came back, Optimus wasn't supposed to be around, but they got so much hate, so much fan mail, okay, that they had to bring Optimus Prime back. Had to. Let's see. No, I can't remind Sarge of this. I can't. I had every turtle, every character. I had almost every character. Not all of them, Nate. Animation for Beast Wars did not age well at all. No. And even when it was happening, the because the technology was getting better, it didn't look the same through each of the seasons. I used to ride my bike to the mall to go to KB toy stores, Nate. There's a comic book shop by me. I took Sarge there when he came up, and the place I believe it's called like an hour away from me. It's like I think it's called Acme. And you walk in, and it's just aisles toys from childhood, and each one is like Marvel, Transformers, and it's like Star Wars. Like each aisle's dedicated to the thing. Just as far as the eye could see, you're like, oh my god, they have everything, everything. So good. You could spend hours in there just looking at one thing and reminiscing of your childhood dreams. Come on, Kuda Papa. You mean Paradise, yeah. All right, the next thing we're going to watch or talk about is Destin Laguirre's video. He says it's his opinion. It says Xbox buying Activision was pointless. Let's see what he has to say about that. If you guys like what we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button. If you like to go above and beyond that, hit the subscribe button. Like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay? We do reaction videos all the time. Make sure after the fact, when we post these later down the road, you hit the like button on those things because it helps promote the channel a little bit. All right, so let's get over to Destin Laguirre here talking about Xbox buying Activision was pointless.
This video might come off a little bit entitled. And the reason I say that is because I do not really understand what the point of Xbox buying Activision was if they're not going to go hard and actually do some interesting things with the merger.
I see what he's saying off the bat, right? Because it's been, what, a year and a half since they got him? They got him at the end of 2023. It was one full year of 2024, and now we're in 2025. So we're in about a year and a half. Not much is coming out, right? We've been wanting Ultimate Alliance, the old ones, re-released by them. We want the Transformers game re-released to them, put them on Game Pass type of stuff, and they haven't done any of those yet.
When it happened, I was excited about the potential savings I could be seeing by having access to all the new Activision games on Xbox Game Pass, or just see how Microsoft would shake things up, and the potential for old games to make their way onto the service. That was cool.
I think that's still going to happen. I don't think they've lots of licensing problems, right? It's not the problem. Let me rewind here a little bit. Say that's a weird look. It's not the problem that they can't put them on, right? The problem is because it's Marvel, because it's Hasbro, because it's Transformers, for those 3 games that I want to come back, is they have to get the licensing for that. And that goes through a whole slew of things, right? It's not just like, hey, we like to put the game on the thing. Now they got to go through like legal jargon shit, right? A bunch of lawyers have to get involved. And then they go, yeah, we're going to put it in. And I think they are going to put them on because we had the leak that they're back on the store, which they weren't on the store for a while. So it looks like they've done something because they are going to put those on the store.
Things up, and the potential for old games to make their way onto the service. That was cool. Or see some kind of revitalization of interest in Xbox services. That was intriguing. But now that we're headed into year 2 since closure, I gotta ask Microsoft directly, what exactly was the point of buying this company if you're not gonna do jack squat with it?
Well, hold on a second. It's a good opening there, okay? Why buy it for the money that they bought it for $60 billion or $70 billion if they're not going to do diddly squat with it? They are doing stuff with it. They bought it for $70 billion, and now they're making the money off of Call of Duty. They're making the money off of Diablo. They're making the money off of all the other things that they got from it, right? Immortals, right? All the money that's coming in is now going to them, Microsoft. It's not going to a third-party publisher anymore. So yes, they spent $60 billion, and they want to make that money back as fast as possible. But again, the wheel has to turn. World of Warcraft, I'm telling you, is coming to Xbox. It's for Game Pass or whatnot. It's going to come at some point. They just got to make sure all their ducks are in a row.
To be fair, today Xbox gamers on any platform have seen little to no benefit from this merger, except for the fact that Diablo 4 came to Game Pass, as well as one bad Call of Duty and one really good Call of Duty. We got Spyro.
Hold on a second. He just named, 3 games? I'll let him finish.
We got Crash. Recently, StarCraft 1 and 2 also made their way onto the service, but there's little to no promotion or fan.
Hold on a second. Okay. They've had them for 1 year. 1.5 years. Okay. They've put new games on. They've put old games on. They've had updates. They've done stuff with it. Is it not up to par for him? Is that what he's saying? Because they've done it. It's like one company, and they've put out 6 to 7 video games, new and old.
And fair. And yeah, they announced the Tony Hawk game, but let's be honest, that was probably already in the works. It's good, but the potential has been completely wasted by Xbox, in my opinion. There is so much more they could be doing.
Absolutely. I agree with that. There's 100% more they could be doing. But at the same time, you can't put it all. I've said this before they even bought it. I said, don't expect all the Activision games to come out one lump sum as soon as they buy the company, right? You have to slowly bring out your games over time because you want to make the value of the proposition good, right? He even talked about maybe having an Activision tier where all the Activision games were only on the Ultimate Edition, okay? Since that time, which was 2+ years ago when we talked about stuff like that, they've now raised the price to Ultimate where it's $20. Day and date only on the $20 model, okay? I said that World of Warcraft would either have its own like tier with like MMOs or it would be up on the $20 model by itself, okay? So they can't just throw out everything all at once. They have to be like, oh, you know what? Maybe this summer, again, I don't know. Maybe this summer, all of a sudden they announce that, oh, the Transformers games are coming back. That's 3 Transformers games. Fall, War, and Devastation. Then you also have Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2. That's 4 games, 5 games. So let's say they announce it in July that Activision's coming out with more games. And then in August, they drop Fall of Cybertron. Then in September, and then in October, and then November, then December, right? That would take you to the end of the year. And that's just with those 5 games, let alone their whole other back catalog that they have. There's no way that they would just be like, oh, here you go. Here's 25 games from the old Activision games. That's not how business works. They want to slowly drip feed the stuff in there, just like microtransactions, just like live service games.
What's with the piecemeal service? Are you really making so much bank on Prototype 1 and 2, which
No,
I still have my original
they're
disc
not.
copy of, and the original?
Make the problem, though, and sell the solution. If you want to play that game, if you have your hard copy, you got to play it on your old system because a lot of those games are not even, take it from me, I know, I put them in the machine all the time and you can't play them, right? You can put them in your old machine and play them, but they're not backwards compatible with the new system, okay? So you either have to buy it again, make the problem, sell the solution. The problem is I can't put this disc in the new console because it doesn't read it, okay? Or it's not, it's delisted or whatever. But the solution is, but we have that game on the Microsoft Store, and you could purchase it there for guess what? Not $9 because it's in GameStop, or get it secondhand from Facebook Marketplace. No, you got to buy the digital version of it for $20, for $30, for $40, whatever it is, some of these games.
Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare from 2007 and Singularity that you couldn't even imagine making some sort of big announcement about rolling out the amazing Activision library in some fashion on your service. Let's pop in my Prototype disc and see what happens when I put it in the console, shall we?
Is he putting it in an X? Yeah, he's putting it in the X.
Okay, so we're putting it in. This is my official disc for Prototype on the Xbox. Let's see what it says. Take your time. Here we go. Sorry, this game isn't playable here. You're
had this happen to me plenty of times. Nate says I can play on the S, Prototype 1 and 2. Why? I have a question, Nate. How come you can play it, but he can't? You have the disc, and you put it in, and you can play it? You bought the bundle a few weeks back for like $20. The digital or physical version? It's digital. Yeah. Okay. Again, point stands. Physical copies make the problem, sell the solution. You want to play your game, can't play on the disc you already own on the new system. You have to go buy it digitally.
You're telling me you published this game, you are currently selling it for $9, regularly $20, and you can't even make it backwards compatible on the console.
Well, no, they could. They 100% could. But they don't want to because they want you to buy it digitally so you're in the ecosystem. Make the problem, sell the solution. Corporations don't care about you. They don't. They don't even care that you're complaining about this right now. They're going to make the problem and sell you the solution. They're like, oh, how many people are playing Prototype right now? Probably not that many. Okay. How many people want to play Prototype and they're like, oh, you know what? I have my old disc, but I don't have my old system. Oh, I can't put it in. Oh man, I really want to play that. Oh, real convenient. Here it is, $20.
Are you really making that much money
No, they're not.
from the game?
No.
You're telling me that you're making so much bank on your library, like Call of Duty World.
Nope, they're not making bank on that. They're making bank on you coming to their ecosystem. Because if you get on their ecosystem because you bought Prototype 1 or Call of Duty 4, you're now in the ecosystem. You're in their ecosystem of the digital goods.
At war, that it makes more sense
User acquisition is the most important thing to them.
to keep it behind a $20 price tag than do literally anything else with it. Roll out a small bundle of classic Call of Duty games on Game Pass for a month and see what happens. You're really making that much money on games from 2007 that you'll just do nothing?
Nope. They want people to come over. Their big goal is to get people over to Game Pass into their digital market. Buy a Series S, buy a Series X. If you're not buying a console, you can play these things off of Game Pass. We want you on Game Pass.
They're all on Xbox. You're telling me people are lining up to get the 2007 Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, which you have listed for some ridiculous amount of
2007, $20. That's not technically that's not ridiculous. Have you seen some prices of physical copies of games? Transformers Fall of Cybertron was $240 or $280 when I went to go look for it.
money. Activision has an amazing
Haley, we have daylight savings time, my friend. We pushed back. Wait, no, sprung forward. We sprung forward, not fall back. We sprung forward.
library of games. And I think Xbox has completely screwed the pooch when it comes to utilizing this purchase to get people excited about anything they're doing with the Activision brand. World of Warcraft is another franchise. Let's talk about it. You've done nothing with it. There's no Xbox incentive to playing it. It's clear the dream.
Not yet. We know it leaked that we're not bringing it to console, but it's going to come to console.
Of including it on Xbox Game Pass or bringing it to console isn't going to happen, even though it has native controller support and it would bolster what has largely been a flat growth community.
Wait, what did that say? Did you know that WoW has fully worked native controller support now in Dragonflight? Yes. Yes, I did. That was 2 years ago. And before that.
Native controller support, and it would bolster what has largely been a flat growth community for the last 5 years. World of Warcraft coming to Game Pass, or if that's too much, maybe just adding a special mount or something for players could actually garner new player interest for a game that is very new player friendly right now. I know, because even I played the last expansion. It's accessible. So do something with it. What is happening? Bring it to
Destin's pretty upset. Pretty upset. It's probably because he's sick. Sounds like he's sick.
PS5, I don't care. Bring it to the Xbox consoles. Put it on a fridge. How can Path of Exile 2 come along and support everything, but you still insist on keeping World of Warcraft locked onto the PC behind a subscription? It doesn't make sense. Hell, even StarCraft made it to the Nintendo
I remember that.
64 at some point. You know what? Just put it on Game Pass for a month. Hey, if you have Game Pass, we'll give you 1 month of World of Warcraft. See what happens. And while you're watching me do that, consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell to know when my content goes live. I get a little bit closer to
I have no idea, Kylo. I don't follow that stuff.
getting over my cold for every subscriber. And don't get me started about the Legacy
okay.
library. I popped in my physical copy of the original Prototype here live, and guess what? It's not on the backwards compatible list. But guess what? I can still buy it at the store for $9.89 because it was on sale for a few days, regularly $20. Oh, sorry, I had to do a pickup here. $30.
I have a question. I know this is going to go off the deep end here. I don't know where he stands with microtransactions, right? I don't. But I'm going to talk in general just about the public, okay? If the public has a problem paying $30 for a video game that's done in what year was this? Right? What year did it come out? Prototype. Early 2000s? Mid 2000s, whatever it was. Regardless, okay? If you have a problem paying $30 for a video game, then don't buy the video game. It's that simple. Like, if you own it, right? But you don't own the old system to play and you want it backwards compatible. Your options are either buy the older system, to play your older games on, or pay $30 or $9.89. I'm always mind boggled by how people have a problem buying a game for $10 or $30, but they'll go spend $30 on one microtransaction skin. Make it make sense to me. Again, I'm not saying that he does this. I'm just saying people in general. So you look at this as a business, and you look at this and go, well, we charge $25 for one skin in one of our games, and this is an entire game. We're going to charge $30. Hyperbolic, right? Hyperinflation, I should say. But we're giving it to you for $9.89. Exactly what they do with microtransactions, by the way. This microtransaction costs you $40, but we're giving it to you for $20. That's the mindset, right? So the mindset is, oh, I heard this game was good. I'm going to pick it up. Oh, it's $30? Well, $30. It's a full game, right? And this is what they want you to do.
For a few days, regularly $20. Oh, sorry, I had to do a pickup here. $30. Singularity is another gem developed by Raven Software and published by Activision. You own both these companies. This game holds a fond place in many of our hearts, and yet I can't even buy it on the Xbox Series X. You own it. Can you not at the very least put it on the backwards compatible catalog?
That is stupid, right? You're selling that game, you're selling it on your you're selling it on the PC, but you're not selling it on the console. You own it. Just pick up the phone and go, "Hey, can we move this over to here?" But the problem is it going I don't know how much that costs to move it over, but it is stupid, right? If you have it on your platform, but you're not putting it on all your platforms, like, why? You're the one telling us play anywhere, play everything anywhere, and yet your own words. There's walls, right? Play anywhere. Oh, this game? No, you can only play it on this platform over on a PC. Sorry, can't play it on your console.
Or do you need to call the lawyers you employ at Raven and then have a conference call with the lawyers you employ at Activision so they can talk to the lawyers you employ at Xbox to see if you can
A lot of fucking lawyers.
publish the game you now are the owner of on your own platform? Oh,
I have this problem with WB, with multiverses. It's like, how do you not put all these characters in your thing? You own the brand, you own the license, you own the IP. Just pick up the phone and say, yeah, go ahead, put them in. Any one that you want, put it in the game. Same exact thing.
oh, my mistake. You don't have this on Xbox at all, but you have it. You have this 2010 classic for sale exclusively on the Microsoft Store and Steam for $29.99.
I don't understand what the problem is with the pricing of the game. I understand it's old, but has he gone to the store to try to buy an old video game? Right? Has he tried? Because old games cost more money than they did when they first launched. Why? Because they're like collectors. Now, I totally understand this is fucking digital, and it is stupid that they cost it. But if you're going to pay $30 for microtransactions and $30 for 5 days early access on a game, what's $30 for a video game in the past?
I'm sure the 16 people playing and the $24,000 you've made on Steam, well, that's the revenue number over 13.8 years. That probably really pushed the envelope. Look, all I'm saying is this is an easy win and you're squandering it. So is Prototype, which had a whopping 92 peak players today, which represents about $1,840 in revenue.
But you're assuming that they paid for this recently.
You have an opportunity to do interesting things whenever you want with the Activision franchises, and you're doing nothing. I don't understand how you can spend $70 billion on buying this company and then squander the plethora of opportunities you have with these beloved games and franchises. It feels like you've had this limp-wristed approach to putting games on Game Pass or making any sort of big announcement about titles that are being included. Off the top of my head, I can remember the Diablo 4 announcement like it was yesterday. That was a big deal. But StarCraft? Little to no fanfare there. I don't care if you hate all my ideas. You're smart people. Come up.
I mean, he's not wrong about sitting there doing nothing with the stuff. But I have to say they are doing it just slowly. Now, you might not like that, but how are they going to make you come back? I mean, come on. If PlayStation can sell a PlayStation to PlayStation, Xbox can take their time putting games on a Game Pass or the store. You see what I'm saying? They already have you. They already know if you're a person that wants to buy this game, you're going to buy it for $30. If you're going to buy this game, you're going to make the jump and you're going to pay $10 for it. They know if you like what you like, you're going to go out and buy another console because that's who you are. They got you. Papa says direct back compatible is less important. Microsoft dropped people from the section. They want you to buy digital. I don't know Destin thinks about that. Yeah. They just want you in the ecosystem. They want you in the ecosystem. That's it.
With something. Doing a
real quick. How did Netflix go from 200 million to 300 million subscribers? There was people sharing. They were sharing accounts. And they said, well, what about if we, police this and stop people? So these people got caught, and then guess what happened? Well, they bought. Well, the people that have the discs that want to play, there'll be a day that comes along. They're like, I want to play this game. They put it in their machine, and they're like, oh, I can't play it. And they're like, oh, fucking stupid. I can't play this game. They're like, it's only $20. It's only $20. I really love the game. I really want to play the game. $20. Sold. Ecosystem. Done.
A social media post about StarCraft coming into the service isn't cutting it. What is the holdup here? Make some moves already. Based on how you're doing, it sure seems like you got nothing to lose.
The acquisition of Activision Blizzard changed things, I think. I know at Microsoft.
Go for it. Do something. Do anything. Because if your whole approach was this limp-wristed attempt to get gamers interested by putting a game here or there on Game Pass with little to no promotion, then I don't know what the heck your game plan is. And I certainly don't know what the hell the point was in acquiring the company. Because
do we as consumers have to know their game plan? Do I need to know the game plan? I mean, I'm not asking the Mets or the Giants what your game plan is, who you're drafting, who you taking. Right? We could all have fun and talk about who your favorite sports team is going to draft and take, but I don't need to know their game plan. I'm just a consumer, right? Do I ask the restaurant that I like going to what their game plan is? Like, what are you guys selling next month? What's the specials? No, I as a consumer don't need to know what Microsoft's game plan is. I don't need to know what PlayStation's game plan is. Okay. As a consumer, do I want to know what's coming out in the future? Sure. Right? You'll find out when they give you the stuff. But you don't need to know their game plan. Just buy what they buy. Buy what you want to buy when it comes out. That's it.
All I've seen to date is console sales decline and fewer incentives.
They don't want console sales. Everyone's still on this console thing. They don't want consoles. They're making more money on software and across multiple platforms than they are on their one singularity console.
To be an Xbox fan, as you have been very clear that you're porting everything to PlayStation anyway.
We are finding that our games shipping on multiple platforms is a good thing for Xbox.
Take the first 5 Call of Duty games, put them on Game Pass for a month.
But why put 5 on 1 month when you could take 1 and put it on 1 every 2 months?
See what happens. Incentivize people to...
Because if you want people to play Call of Duty, if you put Call of Duty 1 on there, you're going to have a mass rush of people playing and trying out Call of Duty. We just saw this with Star Wars Galactic, the collector's edition, right? People mass went to it, but not like mass, like millions of people, just like 2 million people, 3 million people, right? Went to go play the old Battlefront game. If you take Call of Duty 2, 3, 4, 5, and throw them all at the same time, you're going to have a player base spread across all 5. But if you take Call of Duty and put it out there for 1 month, you're like, oh, Call of Duty's back on there, and they all rush there. Servers are full. People get to play it for a couple weeks, couple months, whatever. And then they're like, oh, Call of Duty 2, boom, coming out. You don't want a roadmap of this, because if there's a roadmap of Call of Duty coming out in August and Call of Duty 2 coming out in September and Call of Duty 3 coming out in October, you'd be like, I'll just wait for Call of Duty 3. Instead of just going, oh, Call of Duty's on there? Let me go play Call of Duty. right? You see what I'm saying? This is why you don't need to know their roadmap. This is why you don't need to know their game plan. Their game plan is, we're making video games. We bought a bunch of stuff, and, could come, it couldn't come. Surprise.
To play World of Warcraft for just fun. Give them a free month. You got nothing to lose. And you said this is about mobile. What happened in the mobile space?
They're in the mobile space. They're making a shit ton of money off Candy Crush.
Nothing. What is happening? Look, I don't.
On their side, lots of stuff is happening. They're collecting $1 billion to tens of millions, if not billions of dollars from Candy Crush. That's what's happening. That is what's happening on the business side. You on the consumer side, what do you mean what's happening? What do you need to happen on the consumer side? You want a DLC for Candy Crush? Like, they bought it for the mobile market to get into the mobile market. They're making money in the mobile market now, which is funding other things in the company.
Get what the game plan is. Maybe the commenters will see it more than I do, but I certainly think there are a plethora of opportunities here, a plethora of.
There's absolutely a plethora of opportunities, but they're going to take their sweet time doing that. Why? Because minimal viable product.
Great promotion opportunities too, and they really just haven't hit the nail on the head on this one. I'm sick. I'm getting over a cold, but let me know what you think. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell if you like this content. Thank you so much for watching. Every subscriber makes me get 2% better, and I'm almost there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the members for supporting this channel. I do appreciate it. A big thank you to Christopher, Eddie, Inner Machine, Filleroni, Savage, Spin Getter, and the Scarecrow 121. You can support via Patreon, or you can support by simply becoming a member or watching this video, hitting that like button, all that good stuff. Check out my previous video, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.
There you go. Destin's channel is in the link down in the description below. I mean, he had some good points, but most of the stuff is, like, you don't need to know. That's just the way it is. I mean, scroll back up and see what you guys are saying. Sarge says, you don't need to know shit. Wait for product, consume product, and shut the fuck up. Yeah, that's basically the corporation's motto, right? Ron says, we all know Concord's game plan. Dolphin says, does he think they would work if Microsoft didn't buy Activision? Yeah, I don't understand. Like, if they didn't buy Activision, then none of these things would be on Game Pass. Now, they did buy Activision, and still none of these things are on Game Pass, except for the 6 games that he did name in the very beginning, which is 6 games that weren't there before, because now they own them. Right? Kyle says, I buy digital too, but having the option to buy physical is nice, especially when the disc at the local shop is fraction price of the digital one, supporting a local business. They don't want you to support the local business. The whole point of going digital was so they didn't lose money off of that, because if I buy a physical copy of Call of Duty and then I sell it to GameStop and you come in and you buy that copy of Call of Duty, they didn't get any money from that. They got $0 from that. Okay? They made the problem. They're selling the solution now. The solution is GameStop is what GameStop is. Digital games is what it is. So they're like, hey, you know what? Let's not put these backwards compatibility, because the player base is so small on these physical copies that if they want to buy it and they still have their old Xboxes, then they can play it. The ones that are not on our catalog, guess what? You have to go buy it digitally. If you really want to go buy something, like if I really want a milkshake, okay? There's no milkshake places by me. But if I really want a milkshake, a good milkshake, I got to drive 45 minutes to get a good milkshake, okay? Well, if I want that milkshake, my ass is going to go get that milkshake. If I really want to play Prototype and I have the disc, and I don't have a system, I'm either going to buy the system so I can play this disc, or I'm just going to pay for this digital version of this disc on my new system. That's how it works. Oh, and by the way, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. I didn't give you a cheer. Appreciate that. Jack says, I could see if they put Black Ops 2 before Black Ops 6 came out, the stores are connected. Buddha Papa says 30. What Destin is saying is an oversaturated of Game Pass games. You don't drop 5 Call of Duties games. That's stupid, right? No, I agree, right? You don't drop 5 of them and then have the player base spread across the whole thing. You want to focus in on, oh, Call of Duty 1's out. Everyone plays Call of Duty. LD says more than likely they're going to have an Ultimate Activision Game Pass tier for $30 a month. I think they would just put it towards I've said this in the past, LD, they would have some sort of tier, but at this point, I think they just put it in the Ultimate. They really want people to come to the Ultimate and get Game Pass. What's gone wrong with Dustin? Dustin or Destin? He says roadmaps do nothing for the consumer. No, they don't. They do everything for the company because they're like, oh, we put this out there. People are excited about it. We can milk them for another 6 months. Travis, I love how you have more comments on Xbox games than PlayStation games, and you don't play Xbox games. You talk more about Xbox than PlayStation. Crazy. Kyle says, yeah, I understand that. Mainly reply to Nate Dizzo. I gotcha. Nate says, I buy digital for convenience, not having to go to the store, just pull out my card. Exactly right. Exactly right. The convenience of it to being there, like, oh, I really want to play Prototype. Oh. I mean, we did it 2 years ago. We wanted to play the Transformers game. Okay. I put my disc, okay? Or I'm sorry. Yeah, on the new system, I couldn't play it because I didn't have the disc. I bought it digitally. Okay. I couldn't play it because it wasn't backwards compatible. Right? Or, yeah, because I had the digital on the Xbox One. So I owned it, but it wouldn't let me play it. And I went, okay, well, how much do I have to pay for it? And you couldn't buy it because it was delisted on the Xbox store. So what did I do? I looked everywhere to buy a copy of it, which is really hard to find a hard copy of the Transformers game. I found a hard copy, and ta-da, bought it, found it, drove an hour and a half away to a local game shop because they had a copy of it for $40, bought it because I wanted to keep it and, like, have it, put it in my system, boom, we played it. Done. Right? Simple as that. Why? Because I wanted to. Ellie says they have DayZ on Xbox. What more does it need? Travis says, you know what's really crazy? How I talk about bad games more than good games. Oh, wait, that's not surprising for everyone. Xbox makes bad games. So they get more attention. Plus 2 does, in fact, equal 4. Travis, the point is that you don't play those games. You don't have an Xbox. So you saying a game is bad or good when you don't play it means absolutely nothing, right? Everybody has an asshole, okay? So it doesn't really matter what you think because you're not playing those games. The fact of the matter is that you talk more shit about a console that you don't own, which is just, it's not healthy. It really isn't healthy. Like, talk about the games you play. Talk about the console you're on. Don't talk about a console you're not on and the games that you don't play. You're the only person that cares about DayZ in the world? That's not true. That's not true. Let me see. Let's see. He's playing on console. He's playing on console, I believe. And people on the PC, there's 71,000 people that played in the last 24 hours and 47,000 people right now. So that would be false. Is not the only person. Same with Mo. See? Mo brings it up, PlayStation. He doesn't have a PlayStation. So when Mo talks about PlayStation, I have to ignore him. Oh, you're playing on PC? Well, there you go. I thought you were playing on console. All right, we got another video here. Oh, not another video. Sorry. We have a article. This is from Peter Moore. How long is this? Actually, how long is this podcast? This is an hour long. Hold on. Can we transition from Sega to Xbox? 60 key moments partnership with 360. Challenge for Japanese market evolution. Xbox current. You know what? Maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll do this. We'll watch this podcast instead. Let me put this up here.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Gamertag.
Gamertag Radio. We're gonna fast forward to this part because I think the article's talking about. Yeah, it's talking about Xbox right here. Hardware changes. Reflections. Let me see. All right, let's go here. This is the evolution of Xbox and the current strategies. Challenges of the Japanese market. Let's start here. All right, if you guys like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Watching this from yeah, sorry about that. About Danny Pena. Pena? Butchered it. Sorry, Danny. All right, let's watch this.
Development partners to, here's our dev kits, here's the early dev kits, and forget about this thing and focus on this thing. And you know, as history tells us, it worked out very well.
Yeah. Speaking about Japanese, man, how was it for you in those days getting those opportunities working with new partners in Japan? Because they will always focus on working with PlayStation. Was it really difficult to get them to support Xbox in those days? Xbox 360?
Yeah. I mean, look, the numbers worked in the end. Yeah, I mean, look, I've been over there for 5 years prior at Sega, obviously, and was very aware of the Japanese market and the roots and the incredible loyalty the Japanese gamer shows to his or her gaming companies, both publishers and hardware. It was never going to be easy, but we spent a lot of time.
I like how people give us shit in America when you buy American made, you know, but people in Japan do the same thing, right? They support Japanese made, Japanese owned, same thing.
Going over, sitting down with the Namcos, the Capcoms, the Konamis of this world, and laying out a vision for what we would be, particularly the world of the internet and high-speed broadband, and then laying out a longer-term vision of, you know, bigger hard drives and having more.
No, Travis, but it does. If you're talking about the America likes to support American-made companies, right? In the gaming industry, not so much about support, but American-owned, right? Just people give shit to America because we like stuff that's made in America. But when Japan supports their stuff, that's not a problem, right? Why? Because it's not a problem, by the way. You should support what's local. You should support what's coming from your country.
More content and having this vision of a different business model that was less about, here's your getting whatever it is, 50,000 yen for the game, and move on to the next year. No, let's figure out how we can engage the gamer through online, through services like Xbox Live, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And to the credit of many of these companies, they bought into that. And not to say that they walked away from PlayStation, obviously that wasn't the case at all. But they saw Microsoft coming in as healthy for the industry. Now you've got two financial juggernauts in Sony and Microsoft going at it. In the old days, obviously, it was Sega and Nintendo. Now, Nintendo's still there and, boy, flourishing every day, obviously.
That's another thing, right? So you had Nintendo and Sega, and then you had Nintendo and PlayStation. And Xbox was the first non-Japanese company to get into the market
today. But having technology companies come in and who grasp the opportunity of the future, grasp and understand memory, broadband speeds, and build out software. I mean, PlayStation struggled at first, and that allowed us, I think, a good 12 months to 18 months lead with Xbox Live. And we took full advantage of that lead and built out this kind of network effect of all of a sudden, if you were in the schoolyard and you didn't have an Xbox and weren't playing Halo 2, you were out of it a little bit. And so that allowed us.
Yeah.
So, it allowed us that head start. Obviously, the pricing advantage we had as well. And we were just hell-bent on my mantra was first to 10 million units wins. And I always remember saying that and was quoted on that. But I felt that you get that tailwind behind you, the network effect of great content, the third parties coming over to your side even more. And that's
Now, see, when he was in the business, that's exactly what the mentality was, right? Third party, get as many people on your console as possible. Now the landscape has completely changed.
what happened. I mean, look, it was a great period because both the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 flourished. And when you look back now and the numbers were immense, and I think somewhere in the region of 120 million units each, sold through, which is phenomenal.
That's not true. Like 80 million. Where did you get this 120?
Phenomenal for the industry. And I think that the impact of that period still exists today, of bringing all of those gamers in this somewhat of a golden period for gaming.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. The reason why I asked that question is because I remember there was a lot of like RPG games from Japan. I remember some of them first party, some of them not. Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon. I remember being at E3 when you guys made the announcement of having Final Fantasy for the first time into the platform. I go like, oh, this is looking good, So, yeah.
Yeah, look,
Go for it.
Panzer Dragoon, if you remember that, and you've got.
Yeah. Oh,
real quick, I looked it up just because PlayStation 3 sold 87.4 million. Xbox 360 sold 84 million, right? So I don't know where he's coming up with this 120 million back then. But anyway.
classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
What you look at, you're looking at your gamers and you're going, all right, we've got the shooter, if you will, with Halo. We absolutely, but you didn't want to be, and we always were not paranoid, but we were always conscious. You didn't want to be the shooter box. So the way it was working is you need to grab that action adventure fan. You need to go get that. Maybe they were JRPG, Japanese role-playing games. Is there an MMO that you need? And all of this, what we tried to do in particular with the launch portfolio for Xbox 360.
I hope not, Akuta Papa. That's a lot of Xboxes and PlayStation just sitting around. That's additional 40 million boxes if they're shipped just sitting somewhere.
60 is bring as many of those different cohorts and genres in to say, this is my box, particularly move them away from PlayStation.
No, absolutely.
And I owned a PlayStation 3 and an Xbox 360 back then.
And you kind of started talking about just kind of where the industry is now, and I do want to touch on that, but I find it interesting that you left in 2007 because it doesn't seem like you did. It seems like you were there longer than 2007, but essentially you left Xbox, in my personal opinion, in its greatest year ever. You left it in good hands because I think 2007.
Other than the Red
Halo
Rings
3,
of Death,
BioShock.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You left at the best time. Yeah, the system broke. I went through 4 Xbox 360s because of the Red Ring of Death.
You'd recovered from that at that point, right?
No,
you obviously made the decisions that you needed to make to recover.
You remember? You had to put a towel around it, ice pack, so you could cool it down, so it didn't come off the board. Because what was happening is the solder would come off the board.
From that, but 2007 was and again, my opinion, probably the greatest year for Xbox. The reason I bring that up is I want to fast forward to where we are now, today, because back then, obviously, exclusive games and some of the third-party deals that were being made, like with Grand Theft Auto, were essential to get people to buy the box. So that was the box for them. Like I remember when Call of Duty, when Modern Warfare came out back then, I just thought of it as being only on Xbox, even though it was on other devices at the time. Obviously, Halo 3 was a big deal that year as well. But
Kyla says, bro, I used to throw mine in the freezer after the towel trick. It lasted another week. Good times. Yeah, that's crazy. That's beyond the like blowing into the cartridge back in Nintendo days. Like it was crazy.
I want to talk about now and what Xbox is doing right now, because it is clearly controversial. It is somewhat disruptive to what they're doing. So I'm just curious of your perspective of this multi-platform strategy for Xbox.
Real quick, behind Paris, I didn't realize. Obviously, this is the fridge behind him, but I was like, wait a minute. I go, my X is not that much bigger than the S. I was like, what the hell is that? Does he give a mini S or is it a gigantic X? It's the fridge. Jack says, for the $10 super chat. Thank you very much. I'll read this in just a second. Okay, it says a lot of third now is either putting their game in one place in multiple places, exclusive to one platform. I think they should always be everywhere unless they got their own console, and that what's the point? If you're a third party should be everywhere, 100%. If you're first party, I think if you want to keep it on your platform and it's just your platform, cool. If you want to take your thing afterwards and put it somewhere else, that's up to you. Third party should be everywhere. And most of the time, third party are there. This is why we didn't like when they had exclusives or PlayStation pays for that extra strike mission or extra Hogwarts Legacy mission, type of stuff. I don't like stuff like that. Thank you very much for the $10 super chat. House's third 360 was the Halo 4 Slim Edition. It's still going strong. Yeah, the black Xbox, and then I have a white one as well. Two of them are just broke. The black one runs to this day is super strong. Alter says all that happened with the Xbox. No wonder why PlayStation won the next generation after if the system broke 3 times. No. That was actually their best system. The 360 sold 84 million copies and was the closest competition they've ever had with PlayStation. Right? PlayStation was too expensive. The only reason people were buying the PlayStations more was because of Blu-ray player. It was the cheapest Blu-ray player on the market in 2006.
But still wanting to make hardware at the same time. What's your perspective on that?
Look, the industry has evolved, has matured. I like to think we weren't quite the pioneers, but certainly, I think gave the industry credibility. We thumped our chest at what was the IDSA in the old days, the ESA, E3 in the early years, the early 2000s, was a phenomenal platform for us to get off the back pages and to get on the front pages and to be taken seriously as an entertainment medium.
You didn't have to buy it again, Ultron. They would refurbish it and give it back to you.
With cynical press, who again blamed all of society's ills on video games, waste of time, creating violence, blah, 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 all of that. And we needed to do a ton of missionary work in those days. And at the same time, we were young enough to have fun and do all the daft stuff that we did and all the stunts. And I think that, the console wars that you're kind of alluding to were healthy for the industry.
Of course
and
it
look,
was.
I've said it before. We just, certainly I did, encourage the battle because I think gamers loved to see.
So much so, look at it now, right? There's full channels just love shitting on each other for their consoles, right? The console war is for them, not us. Like, listen to what he's saying. The customers loved it, right? But competition is what you need. If you have this competition, this war going on, you're like, oh yeah, who are you going to be on the side of? That's not what it is anymore.
Xbox versus PlayStation, maybe Nintendo as well. And that I think was a rising tide that lifted all ships there. It's different today. And when you see that, look what's
that? Did you say it's different today? Oh, that's amazing.
happened with the acquisitions or the consolidation, and what Microsoft, and I still say, if they had the choice, would they make hardware? No. Would they be delighted if they could be a multi-$100 billion entity delivering, content directly to your television, to whatever monitor you choose to play on? You bet.
Of course. I said this the other day. If I could sell you something that doesn't need to be physically there anymore. Microsoft's whole business model was software, software, software. They switched the software to subscription service, right? Because now software is not even software. Software is digital. Now they're going digital subscription. That's what Microsoft is going to make their billions and trillions of dollars off of.
And you know, in the classically Netflix model, if you will, you just select who's playing this. 5,000 people playing this. I'm going to jump in right now. No latency, no lag. You're in, and there doesn't need to be a box between you and your controller and the TV set. But still, you know, consoles are, as we're seeing, particularly with Nintendo now, people love their hardware.
Of course they do. The record player is still around. There's still people with record players. More people are buying vinyls again. Not ever before. Just more people are buying vinyls. Why? Because they're still buying record players.
You know, the acquisition of Activision Blizzard changed things, I think, I know at Microsoft. And so this is not the old days of the...
Wait a minute. Destin's saying they haven't done anything. Peter's saying something else here. Hold on a second.
You know, the acquisition of Activision Blizzard changed things, I think, I know at Microsoft. And so this is not the old days of the console wars and punching each other and trying to steal customers and trying to get market share and build your attach rate.
Right.
This is bigger than that in an economic sense.
Amazing. At least someone that used to run the actual company can actually see the vision of what they're trying to do. Where the rest of the people in the world are just like, all like, you guys are behind a wall, behind a tree, behind another wall. Like, you're like, nah, console wars, baby.
Has it lost a little bit of the
Sure.
the feistiness that the industry, I think, fed upon and grew upon? I think so. Yeah, I mean, and look, I've been gone from the industry 8 years. You know, I left EA to go to Liverpool in 2017, so it's been a long time. Do I yearn for the old days? Do I look back fondly to when things
Not allowed, Peter. You're not allowed to look back. Be nostalgic.
crop up in my social media feed of this was you 15 years ago and you see great photos of things at E3? Yeah. But I think we as an industry then position the industry for where it is now. It's different. And yeah, what
I like what he said there. Yeah. What they did then has positioned what they've done now. 100%.
Microsoft is doing is no longer we're going to get as much content on our singular platform and the PC, and we're going to fight for that, and we're going to pay for that, and we're not going to give it to anybody else. And you know, those days are clearly over, as you can see.
Yeah, you know what you remind me right now is I know you mentioned PC, but it reminds me of Games for Windows party at E3 2007. Paris was there. It reminded me you guys were really pushing the Xbox, PC and all that at that time. What you think of Xbox and PC gaming now today, in your opinion, compared to like those days back then?
It was just like I say, it's different. It's you know, if you'd have told me then that Microsoft's the biggest financial acquisition of all time would be a gaming company, I'd have laughed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we struggled even internally during that period with people, parts of the company that thought this was a waste of time.
Imagine that.
This was very much, you know, the kind of Windows into Internet Explorer period. And Microsoft was not an entertainment company, and it was our job to get it in the living room, you know, in simple terms.
And they were too far ahead, right? They try to push the media set-top box and whatnot at that point early on for the Xbox One, and it just wasn't right. Now everyone has it, right? We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Everyone has Netflix. Everyone has a media system on their console now.
Terms, the concern was, again, you look at it now and you kind of scratch your head that Sony was going to own the living room. You know, they had music, they had cameras, they had televisions, you know, the Trinitron. I mean, you think about it. Now, today it's different. And competition from all over the world. In Sony's case, Samsung and LG pounding on them at one end, Microsoft coming at them on the other end. You know, kind of a pincer movement that squeezed them. But Microsoft, were worried that we would be forever relegated to the Office or maybe your laptop on your desk, but would never ever have a ticket to the living room.
Madden 10, last good Madden. True.
And that's where, and Bill,
I think I actually stopped at. I have that one, but I think I stopped at 7. I think 7 was my favorite one.
was always, pounding on the desk of this was we need to get into that living room, and it was very clear once high def was coming in, and the graphical quality of what we were delivering at that time blowing people away. When I think of Gears of War and Cameo, and again, 15, 18 years ago, whatever we are, 18 years ago, it's just these were things. And just an example, Best Buy were calling for our demo units into the TV section because the Xbox 360 was the only device at that moment that was delivering high definition content. So they were showing off their high def TVs with games like Cameo. Gears of War would have been a little rough in the TV section, but Cameo certainly fit that bill. So yeah, I mean, look, it's a different industry. The stakes are higher, and technology continues. That ever-flowing river of technology continues to flow, and it's a different time and a different place. So different business models have evolved.
I just realized I trimmed my beard a little bit. I can look like Peter Moore. Yeah. Slightly a little bit more hair on my head. Way more on my face, but if I this down, we could go with the goatee.
And yeah, if you'd have told me that stuff that would be owned by a first party would show up on other platforms, that would be contrary to the fight that we were battling at that time.
You know what? I just remember now going to E3 05. And this is first time I got to see you. You were walking with Steven Spielberg. You were showing him Condemned and a couple other games there at the booth. I remember that. But one thing that I realized, and still to this day, I was always wondered, why in the world you guys had a Mac? Was it like a Mac PC? Was it like a Mac? Computer.
Oh, is it okay.
behind the demo of each 360 game? But it was very controversial because they were like, "Wait a minute, Microsoft and having a Mac computer there?"
The dev kits, the early dev kits, and I'm going to embarrass myself. I think they were G4s. I mean, it's a long time ago, but 20.
Yes.
22 years, but yeah, they were Macs and they ran hard and hot. I remember that. And eventually we moved on to fully contained dev kit. But yeah, in the early days they were Macs.
What? Using Macs? Oh my God! Anybody else remember playing Halo on a Mac? I do. On multi-plat, where it was on the console and PC, Windows and Apple. Is amazing. Multi-platform back in early 2000s, amazing.
And I don't think we tried to hide them. Well, we did at first, but just.
I mean, it wasn't open to the public. It was like very hidden, but I think somebody saw it, and that's how it went around.
Yeah, if you look,
yeah.
The thousands of developers knew that it was running on a Mac, so it's not like a big secret, So, but yeah, those were the early. And I don't know. I'm sure I'm wrong, but I want to say it was a G4 something from Apple.
Old school. All right, Barry.
Was it G4? 2005? It might have been a G5.
Yeah. I mean, really, because again, thank you, Peter, so much for taking some time to talk to us. It's
First off, who games in a Mac? Well, apparently a lot of people, because they had Halo on a Mac.
It's clear and an honor getting to talk to you, which kind of brings me to this question, because you've talked about that era and how you look back on it fondly, and it really was the wild, wild west when I think back about that, getting into content creation back then, and just everything was completely different to what it is today. But I am curious for you, when you look back at that era and you look back at your career in gaming.
The clip says, PC's not a platform, 30, because Sony's not multi-plat. That's right.
What is it that you want to be remembered for as far as your legacy goes?
Yeah, Sega was. So look, what did I know about gaming? I was a shoe guy at Reebok, and so
Right.
a recruiter calls me and says, and why did they call me? Because in those days it was teenage boys. That was the core demographic. The graphical quality, the power of consoles was insufficient to keep you hooked after a certain age. The content that was coming through just was not mature enough, and so it's a phase you went through. But yeah, and I was so fortunate that a recruiter and Bernie Stoller, God rest his soul, said, "Yeah, you're perfect because you know how to engage from a marketing perspective with teenage boys, and that's who we engage with in video games." And so I look back very fondly at a little bit during that Sega period, which was the Wild West. And as I said, I appeared in the Senate hearings. Me, Strauss Zelnick, who was not in video games there, he was still in music. Greg Fishback of
Well, I didn't know Strauss Zelnick was in music before this.
Acclaim, which I read is coming back. And it was the John McCain, Joe Lieberman hearings, and it was the period which most of your listeners will remember. Tipper Gore, who was Al Gore's wife, was attacking, content and American values and trying to put censorship on music. And look, out of those hearings.
I remember those days. I remember all that.
She ended up in some rap songs for sure.
Well, yeah, but we needed to thump our chests and say, we're not going to be censored. We were accused of marketing M-rated games to teenage boys and girls, and we changed the ESRB ratings came out, and we changed the way that we market. This was very much in those days magazine marketing, and so magazines,
chat, for those of you that are super young, are things with paper. You would have to use your hand and fingers to paper. And there was words and pictures in this thing. I know it's hard to imagine. Hard to imagine.
That had a demographic circulation of teens. We weren't allowed to put M-rated games, all that kind of stuff. But was more important that we stood up for ourselves on the Hill in Washington, D.C., and we did. And so that was and I'd only been in the industry a year. That was a moment of pride that I was there, looking up at these senators and explaining that we were not some, societal ill that was polluting the minds of young boys all around the world. And then I think, during that period, I had so much fun and did so many wacky things, but we were trying to accelerate what we had started with the Senate into the world of entertainment, that we needed to be taken seriously. And, we were already touting bigger than movies, bigger than music, but the interactivity of games was obviously superior to any other media, and still is to any other medium. And then having to justify the fact that if you were a gamer, particularly, playing strategy games or fast twitch games, you were learning skills that would allow you to take those.
Who's this guy? This is Peter Moore. He was the head of Sega and then the head of Xbox. Then he moved over to, I forget what he did after that.
Skill sets learned into the outside world, because people couldn't get their head around games were a waste of time. And we would argue, no, they're not. You're learning strategy. You're making fast decisions. As sports games came, and look, the world in my later years at EA Sports, we constantly did research to
there you go. So he went to EA after Microsoft.
Prove that if you picked up a controller and started playing Madden, FIFA, NHL, NBA, Tiger Woods golf, you were likely to become a fan of that sport and then a student of that sport, because games became deeper and more strategic, and Ultimate Team comes out. So you research the real sport.
Yeah, Ultimate Team is the downfall of video game football for me.
To become better at the virtual sport, but it made you a lifelong fan. And the leagues, to their credit, in particular, I always remember Roger Goodell, commissioner of the NFL, always showed up at our meetings in New York when we came to show him the latest build of Madden. Had great questions about, how's this being received? Where are we seeing online start to power this? All of that stuff. So I take, and I could go on for another half hour, but I take pride in those moments, those beats that when you look back at them retrospectively, how we got gaming to where it is today. Because I think young gamers today don't remember, it was underground and despised in certain quarters, and the media, the tabloids.
I think it's funny that when I played video games back in the early '80s, mid '80s. Okay, when you played video games, I didn't have friends at school that also played video games. It was like my own little like treasure moment. Like I played video games at home, and when I would come to school, I was like, "Hey, what'd you do this weekend?" I was like, "Oh, I played something," and they're like, "Played what?" Like nobody had video games. Okay, like very very few families. Right? Yes, there was millions of copies sold, but that's in the United States. That wasn't in my town, in my city. You know what I mean? It was crazy. Like you used to get picked on if you played video games.
Anytime there was an unfortunate shooting, they would try to find a video game hook to blame it upon.
And still do.
Yeah. And you know what? I also just remember too. So at that time, we used to go to E3 every year, right? And I remember the first time I heard that EA decided to do their own event outside of E3. That was like a big moment in the industry, because now we were like, wait, one of the biggest publishers, they're not attending E3 anymore. And that fast forward to today, E3 doesn't exist anymore. And now there's events like Summer Game Fest and this other ones. What do you think about that, not having events like that, in-person events in the States? Because I know we'll still see that in Brazil. They have events still, and also Gamescom in Germany.
Yeah, I mean, the E3 served its purpose, but its time had run. E3 was great for us every year in the summer, getting stuff on the front pages, doing stuff that we would get not just games journalists like yourselves, but full on front page journalists of the New York Times, LA Times, San Francisco Chronicle to cover E3. It became very expensive.
Well, it's still to this day, Nate. Yeah, when people ask me, yeah, I'll be playing video games until I'm dead. I'll be 90 years old. I'll still be playing video games.
And it was trade only all the time. And the world was moving to digital. The world was moving to content creators like yourself. And we no longer, the ESA no longer felt that we needed E3 trade only, media only. And people like Jeff Keighley doing what they were doing, Games Awards, and more content cropping up with the power of the internet. Things like podcasts.
Oh, does he own the soccer team, Liverpool, now? Christ. Owns it or runs it?
And allowing people to engage in a very different way. And look, if you were EA or Xbox or Activision, you're writing, $15 million checks to be there. And could you use that money more effectively to talk to the gamer direct?
Yeah.
You bet.
Think about what he just said there. Spending $15 million just to be at E3, and now that money's going to Jeff Keighley. And
it was E3 used to be about taking orders, from retailers, showing your GameSpot and Best Buy and Target and Walmart,
the CEO,
Toys R Us in the old days, your games and getting a feel for how many units they would want. Well, that went away as well. So I loved E3. I attended 16, 17 E3s, but its time had run. I'd seen this before in my previous life in sneakers and the athletic footwear. We had a huge show in Atlanta called the Super Show. And eventually it became clear that...
And sold sneakers. He went from selling sneakers, Sega, to Xbox, and now he's a CEO of a soccer team.
Again, the tens of millions of dollars you were spending, you didn't need to. And, what happens then? I remember Nike pulled out. Within 30 minutes, Adidas pulled out. I was at Reebok. We quickly pulled out. And then the way that you interact with your consumer was changing rapidly. And the internet, of course, and platforms, social media starting to rise. And so that's what happens with trade shows. Particularly in a digital industry like ours, having a physical trade show, expensive and ultimately didn't make any sense.
All Microsoft has to do, or PlayStation, during their Summer Fest, right? This is how you get away from like Keeley and stuff, right? All they have to do is open it up to, they show a trailer and you get to do that demo of that game on your Xbox right away. That's it. Same with PlayStation. PlayStation shows you a game, demo trailer, boom, you get to play it. You don't need anybody else. You don't need anything. That's all they need to do.
So, final question from me, and before I get to the question, I just have to say this. One thing that I always respected and appreciated about you, I don't know how big of a wrestling fan you are, but when you did the Halo tattoo and then obviously the Grand Theft Auto one after that, you sold the gimmick. You never relented. You never rolled up your sleeve to show it wasn't there or not. I always respected and appreciated that. But you touched on one thing, what you're just talking about. You mentioned social media. And I, again, from your perspective, I'm very curious. How do you think social media has impacted gaming in the industry? Not only how, you being at EA and Xbox before that, how you're presenting a game to the customers, but also how we're talking and engaging with these games, because it seems like with social media, it's a 24/7 cycle now, as far as constantly everything is being talked about, discussed, dissected when it comes to the industry.
It's always been a double-edged sword. Look, in the early days,
Right, the good and the bad. Because if it's a good game and the marketing is good about it, then it's 24/7 good. If it's a bad game, then it's 24/7 talking about bad about the game.
at the very early days, gamers were not given any insight to how the game was going.
They should go back to this, by the way. Right? I don't even know what he's going to say from this point on, but gamers didn't know shit. Right? I told you stories about when I read about the stuff in Nintendo Power. I was like, oh man, I can't wait for that game. We didn't know shit about that game until it came out. Then you played the game, you liked the game or you didn't like the game. That was it. Okay? If you didn't like it, you could return it. There was like a 14-day return policy. Okay? Now, 2 hours, you'll get your money back if it's opened up or whatever, because then GameStop came in. A whole bunch of stuff happened. But we just played the game. You didn't get to have this whole debacle of going on with the discourse.
Really behaved yourselves, we might show you a screenshot, but it was very much everything is under wraps.
Yep.
Everything needs this big hurrah E3, wherever it happened to be. And, whether it was like for competitive issues, I don't know, but the mentality of the industry then was,
Now we have entire games being leaked, right? Hell, Battlefront's lab test, 11 minutes of footage got leaked.
do not in any way show anything you're working on. We started to flip that at EA, no pun intended, but gave flip cameras to our developers to do like daily updates. And, I kind of saw this in the movie medium with Peter Jackson when he was doing King Kong. And he did like a daily update called Kong is King, if you go look at it, and where
He did that with Lord of the Rings as well.
he talked about, and his high-end technical staff talked about the challenges they were facing in doing the movie. And this really, I always remember that, kind of flipped the story around from, we're not going to show you anything because we've got to be secret, big surprise, to we're going to bring you along for the ride here, and we're going to build community as a result.
And now once you do that, though, you can never take it away. You can never take it away. If you let people in, you can never take it back.
And you're going to be feeling like this is your game because we're sharing just about everything with you. And so, social media, look, for me, I jumped on Twitter early, even though my great friend David Tinson, the head of marketing now at EA, kind of steered me away from it for a while. But we were going through a tough time at EA, worst company in America, all of that silliness that was going on. And so I started to engage with gamers and try to help them out and give them explanations. And so I was on Twitter, and very quickly, and I always remember this, Twitter then started to try to get its arms around abuse and racism and homophobia and misogyny and all of the things, that when you throw open to the unwashed masses,
Yep.
a megaphone, that's what you get. And
Yeah.
you could go look it up. I got into not I wasn't in a conversation, but a gamer in England claimed that FIFA was scripted, and by that it means there was code in there that if you scored a goal, then the game could score a goal. There was a script.
What? I think this person that just sucked at the game. What are you talking about? I used to 9-0 teams in FIFA.
And you could never win 10-0 or whatever. There was always a scripting
That's bullshit. That guy just sucked at the game.
in there. To this day, I don't believe there was. Man, this guy. I hope you die. I hope your kids get cancer. I hope.
Jesus.
Oh, this was. If you go look at it, you still see the stories today. And so I filed. Twitter had just come out with its new kind of terms and conditions and and they said, no, this doesn't violate T's and C's. You know, it's like gang rape and set fire to your kids in the trench and all of this stuff. And so it was one of these moments in time where you questioned, the value of social media. Look, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, hold on a second. If you take something like that, which sounds horrible, because it is, someone giving you death threats and telling your kids that have cancer and stuff like that, right? If you just sit on that, then yeah, Twitter is a awful, awful place. But Twitter is not like that. 99.9% of people that you choose to interact with don't have to be that, right? I remember when Twitter first opened, me and my wife, I think I've told this story before. It was 2010. We had our honeymoon in San Francisco, right? I was already on Twitter then, okay? And Kevin Rose, which is a tech guy, did Dignation. I think that was Dignation was the actual website that they had. He did podcasts. He was on Tech TV and stuff like that. He lived in San Francisco, and we had our honeymoon there. And I remember listening to one of his podcasts, and he said, "Oh, you have to go to this tea place. This tea place is really good." And my wife was like, "Oh, we should go there." And I couldn't remember the place. And I picked up the phone, okay, and tweeted him at Kevin Rose, okay? And he got back to us and said, "Oh, that's this place here," right? And I was like, "This is amazing." Like, not only did I get in contact with the person himself, but it was like instantaneously, right? For every good moment, there's also bad moments. But if you just dwell on those bad moments, then yeah, it's a piece of shit site. But there's so much good that can happen. How many people can contact you or talk to someone that you would never ever have the ability to talk to before? It's amazing. But, each their own.
And in today's world, in today's America, I mean, without getting political, but there are mediums that people really are not qualified to, be a part of and give their opinion because it creates divisive.
Well, that goes back to being taught what's right or wrong. So the parents have to be in their lives to teach stuff like this.
It's obviously misinformation. And I think we're in a bit of a mess right now, because of that. People don't have the critical thinking skills to see what other people are saying or what's being served up to them, saying, well, that's not right.
I have critical thinking skill. Lots of people do not have critical thinking skill.
You just don't have it. So,
Right.
But in gaming,
Yep.
I think in gaming it's been valuable per se, used well. And certain developers and publishers that I watch use it really, really well.
It almost looks like I'm part of the podcast. I just realized I looked at the screen. They're not letting me speak.
But it
Peter, I have a question for you.
could be a rough ride out there.
What was your favorite game during the Xbox 360 era?
Oh, it could be very rough.
Oh, you guys are just going to ignore me?
My last question, Peter. I know you've always been looking around, checking out the news, man. What are your thoughts of this new Nintendo Switch 2 coming out in later this year? But very curious about that.
He doesn't look that up. He doesn't look that like intrigued by it.
God bless him. I mean, how many times over, I don't know, 30 years, you ride them off GameCube. You think about it, and Things that landed, things that didn't, but they stuck to their guns. They stuck
Crazy Uncle Nintendo.
to their business model. They stuck to their focus on their first parties. They stuck to it. And when the Switch came out, we're all going, wait, this piece and that piece and all of this comes together. And it was a slow burn at first, if you remember. I mean, this thing didn't explode, but it's Nintendo. And, you know, they, for 30, 40 years, have captured the hearts of gamers of different generations coming through. They, you know, have kept true to their roots. Unbelievable multi-billion-dollar IP and Mario Brothers, obviously, and you think about Zelda and all of the things that they've done. And you know, once you've clearly with the Switch, is it 8 years in now? I think is that what it is? I'm trying to think.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Is it the 8th year?
2017. Yeah.
That's a good cycle.
Yeah.
And then if you could now, and it's still red hot. It's not like the old days of, you know, you're all of a sudden price points are going down. Nobody's buying the new one. There's that little bit of a
Nope, it's still
like
the same price.
18-month period where game publishers struggle because the new consoles, even if they come out, hadn't hit a good, decent install base, and you couldn't get $59.99 or whatever it is for your games on the old consoles because people weren't buying at that level. So if Nintendo pulls this off of a seamless transfer of, you know, down on the runway, straight up again and go, I mean, God bless them. Great for the industry.
You reminded me of something as you were talking about that.
Same.
Because again, I remember you when I talked about you being on with Tina and Laura way back when. You were basically selling everyone of like, oh yeah, you get an Xbox and yeah, go get the Nintendo as a supplement device. And it's so funny how now that is completely flipped.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
I mean, look, I said you could because PlayStation 3 had come out at like $5.99. I said you could go get yourself an Xbox 360 and
Yep,
whatever,
yep.
you know, and a Nintendo Wii. I think it was a good. Yeah, I'd still have like $50 in your pocket.
Yep.
I don't know. And those are the fun things you could do, and just, you know, have this kind of console war fun going on with each other. And I think gamers loved it, and I think it was great for the industry.
Yeah, and one more thing that reminded me too, Peter, when I had you, I think we went to Xbox headquarters. I think it was 06 for Lord of the Rings game, and we did like a round table, and you were not convinced with the Wii. I remember you said something about motion control that the media picked it up right away. And we're like, wait, he's not convinced? Like you were not convinced at that time.
Yeah, I remember being at TGS Tokyo Game Show when Iwata-san pulled out the Wii from behind the podium, and I was with Robbie back. I go, "What is this?" And, you know, and look, you have no. It's so different, so new. Your first reaction is, "Well, that's just never going to work."
Yep.
Yeah, well, I've been wrong in a lot of things.
Who's
I was
laughing
certainly
now?
wrong there. That thing, you know, and Wii Sports. You think about the things that drove it, and it did a great job for the industry in bringing the family into gaming and in a way that was fun. People are still intimidated with a video game controller, but if it's just swinging the controller like you would a tennis racket as it was, and just you can still remember those screenshots and that
My
imagery.
son does that to his grandparents. Takes a controller and gives it to them, and they look at it like it's like a foreign language. They're like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, oh, just do this, right? The Wii remote, you could stick the Wii remote in their hand, and they just know how to do it. Just know how to do it. Just press this button. That's it. Okay.
Of all the families having a great time. Wii Sports was amazing.
Yeah. Well, Peter.
All right. Good stuff. Listening to him. There's a bunch of other part of the. A lot more goes into the decision behind Xbox 360 early launch, key moments of partnership with 360. He goes into it. You can go watch the rest of it. It's like another additional 20, 25 minutes before stuff that we watched. So it is a different landscape, man. It's a different landscape. A lot of people want to talk about these console wars, but how do you have a console war? How do you have a console war when there's no console? You know what I mean? How do you have a console war when there's no console? All right, let's see what else we got here. Done with that one. Yeah, there's an article where he talks about, but I think it's from that interview. Let me see. According to Moore, mainstream previously blamed social skills and video games. Saying, yeah, he just talks about exactly what we just watched. So you don't need to read that. We got one more video to watch, and this has nothing to do with video games or anything like that. It's literally on that new, the new YouTube hype thing that's happening. They have a beta out, right, for very small content creators, and I want to know what it is. We don't have it, but I want to understand how it works. We're going to watch it here with you guys for the first time. This is Creator Insider, right? So here we go.
What's up, insiders? I'm Jessica, a product manager here at YouTube. And today we're talking about hype, specifically a myth we've heard that the feature will be pay to play. We're also going to answer some of the most common.
This is that thing where they try to think on Twitch as well, where you can like hype up people and it gets them ahead of other people. I'm not really too sure how they're going to implement this.
Common questions we've gotten from the creator community about this beta feature so far. So let's dive in. First, a quick recap. What is hype? Hype is a way for viewers.
Jones says, it's this how you hype. 24 months. Appreciate that. 24 months. No, this is a different hype, Jones. This is a different hype. This is going to be a pay to get my channel on a list, and the list gets pushed out to other people. I'm really not too sure how this is going to work.
Viewers to come together and help the creator get discovered and go beyond a like by hyping videos that are published in the last 7 days. Top hype videos show up on a new leaderboard designed for up-and-coming.
Okay. Top 100 hyped videos this week. Check out the videos that fans hyped the most this week. Okay. 1 hype, 2 hype, 3 hype, 4. Okay.
Creators. While this feature is still in the experimental phase, we're currently testing the option to pay to hype videos in some locales on Android devices. Viewers who use this option can give even more points to a single video, giving it a better chance to make it onto the leaderboard. Viewers will still be able to hype free of charge 3 times a week to ensure that.
I'm confused. You get to hype every person on YouTube gets to hype 3 times a week for free, and then you have to pay for it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Anyone can participate and have fun hyping videos and rallying around their favorite creators. So, how can we make sure the hype is fair so that all viewers can
You can't. You can't make it fair.
have an impact rather than just those who can pay? We have a few controls in place, like daily and weekly purchase limits.
Stop it. They're stopping people. Okay. So let's just say you're someone that is well off and you can spend as many amount of super chats, gifted memberships, and now hype. Okay. They're allowing you only to buy a certain amount per week and daily. Is that what she just said?
Hey, we have a few controls in place, like daily and weekly purchase limits.
Daily and weekly purchase limits. So they're stopping. They want to make money, right? YouTube wants to make money, but they're limiting them to make money. Interesting. It's a bold move. Let's see how that works out for YouTube.
All eligible viewers will still be able to hype at no cost 3 times a week. In addition, when viewers hype, whether free or paid, YouTube will automatically apply bonus points based.
Help your favorite creators get discovered when you hype. 7.5 thousand points on this video. 100 on the leaderboard was 126,000 points. Smaller creator bonus points apply. So I got you. So if you look at Skill Up and you want to hype him, you're going to get very few points. But if you hype me up because I'm a small content creator, you get more points. But what does that do for you? You know what I mean?
On the subscriber count of the creator. That means the smaller the channel, the bigger the bonus points. This helps to level the playing field and prevent.
Does it though?
The biggest channels from dominating the leaderboard. So while this feature is very much in early days and we're learning as much as we can through testing, we want creators to rest assured that we're taking into consideration all the ways hype may not be used as intended and building in preventative measures for those risks.
How do you, okay. Again, there's some people that have more money than common sense. Let's say there's a certain content creator out there that's not very nice or racist and then someone's like, well, this would be funny, and they give him hype and they promote him into the channel. Obviously, you control like that. You control different channels and whatnot. I don't know. It'd be very interesting. And then on top of that, this might backfire just for content creators themselves. Hear me out on this. Not everyone's comfortable. Okay, not everyone's comfortable. Now, obviously, this is a live platform that I'm on, but most of those things are uploaded. But a lot of people, if they're live, if they're getting pushed, and all of a sudden they get an enormous amount of people coming in, they don't know what to do. They'll freeze up. They're not ready for that. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see what happens when the hype meter comes out and how it's going to get pushed. And because how do you know who hyped you, and how many things do you have to get hyped? And is it on the back end? Does it tell you? You know what I'm saying? As the creator itself, like if I just upload a video and then a whole bunch of people hype it up, how does that come across? And do you know who's hyping?
Now let's hop into a few FAQs from the community. First, what do I have to do to get viewers to hype my videos if I'm included in the beta? Well, the beta includes select creators in the YouTube Partner Program. You know you're
Okay, so it's going to be in the Earn tab. Give fans a stake in your channel's success when they hype your videos. You'll earn each time fans pay to hype your videos. The most hyped videos will soar up a weekly leaderboard.
included if you see the Hype tab in YouTube Studio. Make sure you have Hype enabled, then the option for viewers to hype will automatically appear on your eligible long-form videos. We encourage you to spread
Long-form videos.
the word by mentioning to your viewers that Hype can help you get discovered, perhaps in your next videos or in a YouTube community post. Remember, each viewer can hype 3 times a week, free of charge.
Each viewer can do 3 times a week. Viewer. Okay, hold on a second. Each viewer in your stream can do it 3 times a week? So if you have 1,000 people watching you and you have 5 people watching you, it's 3,000 to 15.
And pay to hype your videos where available. Next, creators want to know, how does hyping benefit me beyond the leaderboard? Hype is a powerful way to connect with your most passionate viewers and reach new audiences. When viewers hype your video, it's a strong signal that they truly love your content, since they only get 3 free hypes per week. When your video is hyped, YouTube may feature it on the home feed with a special hyped badge, letting everyone know that it's a viewer favorite.
All right. This is going to happen, chat. I'm going to have, instead of 4 days a week, I'm going to have a show 3 days a week. And then you're only allowed to use 1 hype per day per show.
Think of Hype as a way to amplify your fans' voices and increase your visibility on YouTube. It's a win-win for both you and your audience.
Is it?
Moving on, how does the leaderboard work and how often does it update? The Hype leaderboard ranks the most popular videos based on how many points they receive. It's a great way to discover novel content and see which videos are getting the most love from viewers. The leaderboard shows the top videos in your country, and only fresh, new videos uploaded in the last 7 days are eligible. It refreshes every few minutes, so be sure to check it often. Even if your video doesn't make it to the leaderboard this week, don't worry. Every new video you upload has another chance to climb the ranks. So keep creating awesome content and encourage your viewers to hype it up. Lastly, can I see who has hyped my videos? Right now, the ability to see who has hyped your videos is not available. However, you
know, from our video last week with fake content creators, they were all Asian. I don't know if she's real.
can see how many points your video has received under the video description, or you can click into the Hype button on your video watch page. Also, you can view how many points your video has received from your weekly recap in YouTube Studio on mobile. Again, Hype is in a very limited beta, but we'll keep you posted as it expands and evolves. We would love to hear your thoughts, questions, and feedback along the
I'm confused by this. I'm confused. Isn't the like button the hype button? If you like it, you hit the like button. If there's more likes, it gets pushed up in the tiered list to go, hey, this many people like his video. Let's push it out to see the other. Now you're putting, so now I have to ask for, please share, like, subscribe, and hype. I don't know about this. Seems a little odd. You need a hype button also. Yeah, it's just weird. They're asking for things. I don't know. We'll see what happens. YouTube is kind of weird. I would like if YouTube would connect all my channels. That's what I would like. Right? I see so many people on YouTube right now either quitting or they're starting a different channel. Right? They're like, "Oh, I was making different channels." They have like 75,000 people, 150,000 people, and they're like, "Well, my channel's just not getting enough views anymore, and I need to make another channel." And it's like, why? Why? Right? Because the algorithm doesn't like when you make different, like, this is a live show, right? So because I do shorts on this, and because I do live streams on this, and then because I do uploads on this, no one ever gets to see my stuff. So I would have to take my live, which is live, that's his own channel, then make a separate upload channel just for my lives to break out videos, right? Because it gets confused. It's like, well, you're uploading live and you're uploading uploads, right? And then if I talk about entertainment, which I do, I have Nerding with 30, and then if I have video games, I have 30 and Still Gaming. It's like, I feel like talking about cookies today. Well, I have to make 30 and Still Eating, right? Like, I have to keep making more channels instead of just incorporating all of them together, right? So if you subscribe to that channel or a member on that channel, you're a member on this channel as well. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. Dumb. Robert Jones says you used to be able to see sister channel linked to the channel, but I think they removed that as well. No, on mine you should be able to. Right? If you go to my channel, let me see. Yeah, down below you should be able to see I have my 3 channels here. That's the very top spot. If you don't see that, then let me know, because that's definitely there. So I beat RoboCop this weekend. What a damn good game. I cannot wait for the expansion. I'll be a day 1 purchase for me. It's a good game, isn't it? Did you just buy it, Eclipse, and then beat it? Or did you have it? It's deep in the mobile UI? Oh, are you saying it's not showing up in the if I go to my channel, yeah, you got to scroll down past, see the video that's live right now, then the store, and then the featured is what you should see. Yeah, it's a good game. I think I paid 30 for it when it came out. 30 or 40, I forget. Totally worth it. I'm looking forward to that expansion this summer. All right, we're not going to do for some reason my Twitter's not opening. So just doesn't want to open. So no scrolling. At the end of RoboCop as well, but the final boss annoys me. I haven't finished it yet. Are you what difficulty level are you playing on, Ghost? I forget what it's in the building, right? It's the final boss is in the building. You're going up against the big robot in the office. Is that right? Is that what it was? I played it 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. Yeah, I'm doing some cleanup on my channel now. Anything that has under a certain amount of views after a certain amount of months, I'm taking that off the thing. All right, tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be doing some more Avowed tonight. So if you guys like more Avowed, on out. We'll hang out, bullshit while I'm playing through Avowed. Clip says I destroyed the final boss. I was on the hardest difficulty, and the build I made straight destroyed everyone. I just used the normal gun. I just leveled that shit up. I forget what my total build was, but we were destroying everything super fast. I look forward to the expansion. That's definitely, obviously, if it comes out and it's not broke, buggy, and unfinished, it's a day 1 pickup for me. We'll wait to hear some reviews first. for at least stabilization. All right, it's that time of the show. I appreciate you very much. Thank you very much for the super chats, for the re-upping of your membership. Appreciate you very much. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Ghost Fixer says it's with the building and falling through the floors, and the health gets you too low, and you die on the final floor. Oh, right. I remember that. Yeah, I used the normal gun. Yeah, you have to use that gun. That gun's the best. And they use the heavy machine gun as well when you can find them. We'll be back tonight, like I said, 8 p.m. Eastern. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that membership button if you're not a member. We do lots of different things, get votes. We have a Discord that you can join for free. Everyone's welcome to our Discord, but if you're a member of the channel, you can link it to the Discord. More rooms open up for you. We do submitted stories and whatnot. And we also do a podcast at the end of the week on Thursday nights. Generation X Gaming, a weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. Kraken says, hit that hype button. That's right. Hit that new non-existent hype button, which just stands for the like button right now. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixels small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. We're nitty, tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment. In bliss, from new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming always. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming all the ways. Laughs and news, our winning blend, the show with you, our dearest friend. Comments rolling, chats alive, the daily grind, 5-star vibe. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment, wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Good morning, sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixels small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment, wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning.